We been getting money for a minute. DTS forever, ho. Thought that we was finished. I'm about to beat the track up like I'm Papa after spinning. Show these niggas I'm the illest. Bet the hood is going fearless. Fearless, I ain't never been afraid. I always laugh at these actors cause they sweet like lemonade. I've been putting in that work. Now a nigga getting paid. Looking like a couple dollars. Bitches, they wanna holler. Steady popping my collar. Got the mind of a scholar. Hot just like a sauna. Guns bust like pinatas. Smoking that presidential. Good that Obama. Niggas don't want no drama. Haters call them piranhas. Eat them like Jeffrey Dahmer. Karma is a motherfucker. No motherfucker is fucking with this motherfucker. You motherfuckers is out your motherfucking biscuit. Risk it all, nigga. Pull up on them like I'm Lonzo. Watch me ball, nigga. Yes, my nigga, don't you know we put in work? All that shit you poppin's only gonna get you hurt. Only a matter of time before you end up in the hearse. So make your reservation for your spot up in the dirt. DTS, my nigga, don't you know we put in work? All that shit you poppin's only gonna get you hurt. Only a matter of time before you.
Here we go.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Keeping
sir.
it blunt, baby.
You already know, world and America. Keeping it blunt, baby. All right. Oh, cousin.
Disclaimer.
Always, we have our disclaimer, right? We might offend somebody, y'all. Keeping it blunt, baby. All right. So today,
Word up.
cousin,
Today,
who we got on the show
today's a
today,
special
cousin?
day. We got the one and only
Branden.
future middleweight PowerSlap champ, Branden the Butcher Bordeaux, baby.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? That's right, baby. That's what we
Hey, fellas, what's up? How are you guys doing?
Excellent. So happy to have you on the
Right.
show.
Hell yeah.
So happy to have
Yes,
you.
Yeah,
it's
thanks
an
for
honor to
having
have you.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
So, cousin,
So,
talk to
let's
him.
get into some questions. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I did a lot of research on you, brother.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be asking the same run of the mill questions as every other interviewer,
Hey, that's good. That's good.
because I know
Mix things up a little bit.
quite a bit about you already. So
Yeah.
I know about your family. I know about your twin girls. I know about your other daughter, your son. I know about your journey to Slap. I know you found out about Slap watching the show, and look at that as a redemption, because I know you went through an injury.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
definitely a few things that have been, life changing that have kind of led me to where I'm at now, and couldn't be more thankful actually, to where I'm at. A few years ago, you look back, especially when I went through that injury and stuff, you kind of look back and not know the direction that your life was headed in. You know what I mean? There was a lot of a lot of uncertainty. You know what I mean? Having a surgery like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, not knowing what the future was going to hold. That can really mess with you. A bit mentally. And I'll just start from the beginning with it. You know what I mean? So what happened was, I'm a butcher by trade, and it was we're just over 2 years ago. I had surgery just over 2 years ago. So and I got hurt a year before I was able to have surgery. So about 3 years ago, I broke my back at work. I was lifting a really heavy front quarter of beef. I'd done it many other times. You always lift with your legs. You know what I mean? Be careful, that kind of stuff. This time, there's the older gentleman who was working next to me, and usually you take 2 or 3 people to swing up, a front quarter of beef. And it could be 300, 400, 500 pounds. So you just take a couple people to swing it up there. And the older gentleman that was sitting next to me was busy, or who was working next to me was busy. So I was like, many other times I just lifted up there myself. So this one time I went to do it, and we were working on I think it was a 650 pound half, which, equals out to about 1,300 pounds dressed, which is that's a big beef, dressed out that size is big. So that front quarter could have been, 300-400 pounds probably. And, I went to lift it up there. And when I went to do it, instead of stepping, I heaved it. Instead of stepping my feet around, I twisted really quick. Well, when I twisted, my L5-S1 vertebrae snapped. You know what I mean? I could tell you, man, the pain that went through my body when that happened. I knew something was wrong. You don't know exactly what. But you know what I mean? I felt that pain go through my body. I was like, oh. I didn't know exactly what was wrong. I just knew it hurt like hell. But that was our last beef for the day. So I finished out working. It was maybe another 45 minutes to an hour, and things were hurting pretty good. Yeah, things were hurting pretty good. Well, then this makes it worse. So when you're butchering and stuff, all your scraps and all your bones and stuff go into like big 55-gallon, drums, barrels. So they go in all those. Well, at the end of the day, you got to move all those out, right? You got to take them out. You almost got to move them all the way across the damn building and out back. You know what I mean? For for them to dispose of them and everything. So I grab a hold of the first barrel and I'm pulling. Well, the floors and stuff are slippery, and right where I work, we broke down the carcasses, so all the fat, everything falls on the ground, right? So that area, it's a slippery area, so you got to pay attention to what the hell's going on. Well, I'm pulling on this barrel, right, and as I'm pulling on this barrel, I slipped and fell right on my ass.
What?
An hour after I did that injury. So don't tell me, you know what I mean? Falling on my ass like that after doing that, you know what I mean? That definitely didn't help anything.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I mean? The pain was just, dude, it was absurd. The pain was absurd. So, and at that time where I was working was about an hour and 20 minutes from, where I lived. So I got in the car and it was a Friday, and I went and told the owners, I was close with them. So I went and told them, kind of what had happened. I just figured maybe I'd pulled a muscle though. I was like, I probably pulled muscle, I'll take it easy this week and I'll be good to go by Monday. So I get in my car, I drive home an hour and 20 minutes, and I get home, dude, and I could barely get out of the fucking car. Like, I open the car door and go to like swing my legs out, and I can't even get out of the car. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I had to call my fiance. I'm like, hey, can you come out here and help me? Like, she obviously knew something was going on, right? Because I told her on my way home.
Right.
Yeah. And I couldn't get out of the fucking car. So she comes out and gets me and helps me get in the house, and we're just not knowing exactly. Like I said, I thought it was just a real bad pulled muscle. And so that was Friday night. Well, then, obviously after you sit for a while and stuff, things really start to lock up. So I was sitting at home and went to get up to go to the bathroom. I couldn't even get up to go to the fucking bathroom. So at this point, my fiance has to help me up. I'm laying down flat in bed, right? Because everything's so uncomfortable. You know how you like put your hands down, right? And you go to push yourself. I couldn't even do that, dude. I would go to push, and the pain would just be like take your breath away pain. So she would have to come in and like go underneath my arms like a baby, right? And even like help me sit up. And then she would have to help me get up to my feet, literally put me like on her back, and then like walk me to the bathroom so I could go to the fucking bathroom. Dang. So I knew something I was obviously off. I probably should have went to the hospital Friday or Saturday, but like I said, I was like, I'm an athlete. I've been through things, so I just figured, like I said, I figured it was a pulled muscle. So I'll give it a couple days. Yeah, it's going to hurt pretty good for a couple days, but I'll be all right. Well, nothing was getting better. And then Monday I'd rolled around and I called down to work, and I was like, hey, things aren't getting better. They're getting worse. I need to take the day off. I'm going to get to the doctors. So I got into the doctors that day, and they did the x-rays, and he come back right away. He's like, yeah, you have a fracture in your L5S1, which is the vertebrae just above your tailbone, right? So I'm like, well, great. Now what? Now what do I do?
Right.
And because at that time, we had the twins weren't even. Yep. Well, I think the twins were only a year old, so we had all of our kids. I had 4 kids. Me and my wife, myself. I had a 6-person family, and I was working, and she's taking care of the family. So now I have a broken back. So the first thing that goes to my head is like, oh fuck, now what are we gonna do?
Right. Oh.
So then I go back and I didn't even take any time off work. I really couldn't. I had to work. So anyway, so you go under the whole workman's comp thing because it all happened at work, right? So I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with workman's comp, but dealing with those guys, that is they literally
it's a pain in the ass. I have.
It's the biggest pain in the ass that I've dealt with in my entire life, out of everything. Like it is, and they've made everything extremely miserable. So you do all your claims, you do all your claims, you do all this, you do all that. Well, they aren't just gonna throw you into a surgery, even if your doctors are saying like, you probably need to have surgery. They want to do everything possible to try to avoid surgery because they don't want to pay money. Stuff. Right. Mm-hmm. Which, I understand if you can fix your body without having surgery, then, that's a good way to go. But if you get to a point where it's, there's no choice but to have surgery, then that's the only option that you have. Right. So workman's comp drags this out for over a year. I work with a broken back for over a year, dude. And it was fucking terrible. They had to go the owner of the business at the time, they went and bought me a stool. Like I had to sit on a fucking stool and cut meat. Out on the kill floors was different because you can't sit on a stool and all that stuff out there. So I just kind of had to do what I could do. But I'm also the type, like, when I get working, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna be like, oh shit, I can't do that. Let me go get somebody, eat up another 10
Yeah, you
minutes,
just
get them
do
over.
it. Yeah.
Right. I'm just like, fuck it, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I'll just deal with it later. So I would do it, you know what I mean? And well, then all of a sudden, a little bit later, here comes the pain. And then the pain that runs through, you know what I mean? It hits your lower back and it goes into your hips and it goes down your legs and into your knees and into your feet.
Oh,
So when that pain hits you, you know what I mean? Now my entire day is completely fucking ruined because you're going to feel like that the rest of the day. So, but yes, so workman's comp drug this out for a whole year. I broke my back in January. I was scheduled finally after dragging things out for a whole year. I think I've seen 4 or 5 different doctors. We tried every non-medical procedure that you could do. And finally my doctors were like, you know, hey, we've done everything that we can do. The last step is, you know, I mean, you're not getting better. The last step's to have surgery. So finally, you know, I mean, workman's comp, what they do is they'll send you to their own doctor too. Well, that they sent me to their own doctor because a couple months after the injury, I did go off work for like a week, just it's 2 weeks total. So not even for very long because the pain was just excruciating, and I was trying to get, you know, I was like, maybe if I just take a couple weeks off and just chill, you know, maybe that'll help things. So I had to go see that doctor in order for me to be able to get paid for those couple weeks off, right? So I went and seen him and everything, and he actually ruled in my favor. You know what I mean? At that time, he ruled in my favor. Says, yeah, you know, this is legitimate, blah, blah, blah. You know, you're paid for being off these couple weeks. And then he put restrictions and stuff on me. Okay. Well, like 8 months goes by. 8 months passes since I'd seen that doctor. And my doctors at this point, now is when they're saying, okay, we've done every non-surgical procedure we can do. Now it's time to have surgery. So I relay that message back to workman's comp, and they're like, no, our doctor says you don't need to have surgery. I'm like, what? I seen your guys' doctor 8 months ago. I said, his opinion 8 months ago compared to now is going to be 2 completely different opinions.
Oh yeah.
I said, so will you guys just get me an appointment with your doctor? And they wouldn't do it. They tried to avoid getting me an appointment with him by all means necessary. And they ended up December. So my surgery was scheduled for December. It was 2 weeks before the surgery. I get a letter in the mail stating that workman's comp's no longer going to cover my surgery. Literally a week or 2 before I have surgery, and this shit's been scheduled. You know what I mean? I don't schedule surgeries out a week or 2. You know what I mean? It's been scheduled for like 2 months.
Right.
And finally, 2 weeks beforehand, they send me a letter saying, oh, hey, we're not going to cover your surgery. So that turned into a whole mess. So then I get a hold of them, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why all of a sudden are you guys not going to cover my surgery? And that's when they said, well, our doctor doesn't believe you need to have surgery. And then that's where I said, I haven't seen your guys' doctor in 8 months. I said, can you please, you know what I mean? Get me an appointment with him. And I said, like I said, I guarantee his opinion will be different now than what it was before. But they tried to avoid getting me an appointment by all means necessary. So I'm sitting here like, what do I do? Because I don't want to cancel the surgery. I mean, I've had it scheduled for months. So all I could do was basically, you know, tell work like, hey, I'm taking the time off. I'm going to have the surgery. I'm just gonna have to cover the surgery under my, you know, out of my pocket or under my insurance for now. And I mean, I've got to get this done.
Right.
Right. So that was a whole nother situation with work because I was really close with them too. And then they ended up kind of taking the back. They ended up taking the insurance adjusters back, and I felt completely betrayed, you know what I mean? Because I feel like the owners of the business, what they could have done, they could have just went to the insurance adjuster and said, hey, if this is the case, let's just get him an appointment with your guys' doctor and then we'll just reevaluate, right? But they didn't push for that at all. They pushed, you know what I mean? They were basically doing everything that the insurance adjuster wanted. So, because I told him, I said, hey, you know, like I said, I was like, I'm going to take this time off, you know what I mean, have the surgery and everything. And they told me, okay, that's fine. Just get us a doctor's note from the same doctor that had been taking the notes from for over a year. So I go and get her another doctor's note, and I get a message back a few days later, an email. I was like, we no longer can accept these doctor's notes.
What?
I'm like, what? You've literally been accepting these doctor's notes for an entire year. How can you not accept these doctor's notes? And they're like, well, the insurance company says that we can't accept these doctor's notes. We have to do what their doctor says. And so I'm like, okay, if you have to do what their doctor says, then get me an appointment with their doctor.
Right.
So they tried to avoid it at all costs because they don't want to pay for this stuff. So I had to go get a workman's comp lawyer involved. So then he took over my case. It was about 2 years ago in December. Once I got him involved, within a couple months of having him involved, now I have an appointment with their doctor. You know what I mean? After I had surgery, you know what I mean? I went and had the surgery, had it all, you know, I covered it all, you know. Then I went and got the lawyer to try to, you know, reimburse all that stuff. And you know, I mean, I had the surgery, I get the lawyer, you know what I mean? He's taking care of things. Like I said, within a couple months of having him, now all of a sudden I have an appointment with their doctor, right? So then I go and see their doctor, and I want to say it could have been 8 months to a year after I had surgery. It was a little while after. So I was starting to, you know what I mean? I was starting to do a little bit better. And so I went and seen him, everything, and he asked me all the questions, and he was like, you know, I completely agree with you. He says, if we've done, and your doctors, he said, if we've done every non-surgical procedure that you can do and that I've asked out of you and that your doctors have asked out of you, he said, the only other option is for you to have surgery. He says, so, and you know, I mean, I'm thinking in my head as he's saying this, I knew he was going to say this, right? But you know, they tried to block me from getting in there to see him. They tried to drag it out for as long as they possibly could. You know what I mean? And they sure did. And still today, I have the lawyer working on the case. I just talked to him a few weeks ago, actually. So the case still, the case still isn't even. So they're working on settling the case right now. But if the case is still ongoing, it's been 2.5 years. So you know what I mean, dealing with all that stuff, and then you know what I mean, the problems and everything that come from having the surgery, and you know what I mean, because sometimes surgery isn't always the answer, you know what I mean? And once you have that surgery, there's no going there, you know what I mean? There's no going back once you have it. Yeah. So, you know, that situation really sucked, and it played, you know what I mean? It took a hell of a toll on my body. And at the time of the injury, it was when I was trying to come back to MMA. So I did MMA for a few years before the injury and everything. And then we started having kids. So I took some time off, because if I get into something, you know what I mean, I want to be the absolute best at it. Yeah, so I'm fully
indulged,
fully dedicated. So I didn't feel like I could be working full time, and then I didn't want to just do MMA part time and half ass. You know what I mean? If I was going to do it, I want to be all in. So I took a couple years to concentrate on, you know, working and getting, you know, taking care of the family and everything. And then we were in a good position, and I'm like, hey, you know, this might be a good time for me to start getting, you know, start thinking about coming back and getting back into this. My goal was always to be in the UFC, be a UFC champion, you know what I mean? And all done, that's when I broke my back. So then once that happened, you know what I mean, like I was saying earlier, you don't know now the direction that you're going to go in. It's like, well, now I have, you know what I mean, my L5S1's fused together. I have a plastic spacer in between my discs, and I have 2 screws that go up, and I have 2 screws that go down. So I have 4 screws in my spine and a plastic spacer. And everything that you do involves your back, right? I mean, sitting for too long, walking. I mean, everything involves your back.
You don't know how much you use your back until it's injured.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I had to be in this, and I could send you guys some pictures too. I had to be in this brace. It was like a turtle shell brace that went from like my chest all the way down. And I had one of my legs, had like this bar on it. I locked out one of my legs, big old plastic brace. And I was in that brace. I was in that brace for 14 weeks. And I had to sleep in that thing even. I couldn't ever even take it off. So I can tell you right now, if you could imagine sleeping on something hard like that every single night, you know what I mean? You can't take the thing off. Like just the misery and everything that I had to go through. You know what I mean? That whole time, that whole recovery, that everything was just, it was absolutely terrible. And then, like I said, it didn't know what direction it was going to, you know, lead things in. I knew MMA was obviously over, you know what I mean? Because the training and everything that you got to go through, my body can't, you know what I mean? It don't matter how mentally strong you are, you know what I mean? When your body stops, you can't do it anymore. Wow. Right. So, you know, I knew that was done with. I didn't know if I'd ever even work out again. You know, I used to like to work out a lot when I got out of high school and stuff. I really got into the gym and started working out. And then, you know, I took a few years off from that. And I just didn't know, you know what I mean, if I was ever going to be able to do any of this stuff again. Well, then, when season one of the show for PowerSlap started, I was, I'm sitting there watching it, and I watched everything from the very beginning. You know what I mean? I seen the very first advertisement post for it. So I've been following this literally since the very beginning. Well, when this stuff started, I'm sitting here watching, I'm like, and I was actually this, and I think it aired. I'm pretty sure it aired 1 year exactly after I had surgery. So I'm still, still kind of recovering. You know what I mean? Going through this stuff. So I'm sitting here watching it all, and I'm like, holy shit! If I can get my body to recover enough, I said that's something I could. That's probably an avenue I could still go down. I could still compete, still work for Dana. You know what I mean? Be involved in all. You know what I mean? That platform, everything like that, and still be able to compete with how my body is. So I was like, maybe this would be maybe this would be a good thing. Well, one thing ended up leading to another, and I ended up talking to them, and they got some information from me, and then like a month or two went by, and I hadn't heard anything. So I just figured, I figured, lots of people are trying to get in, anything involved with Dana, blah blah blah. I was like, maybe they just skipped over, and that's fine. So like I said, a couple months had went by, and so I still hadn't been working out or anything, because I wasn't locked in for sure. And then all of a sudden last July, it was like a week or two after that they did an event. International Fight Week was in July last year. A couple weeks after that, I gotten a call from Erica, the matchmaker, and I'm like, holy shit. She's, they said, hey, we want to bring you out for August, blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of where it all started. I'm like, oh, holy shit, here we go. When I got that phone call. So, and I still didn't even, like I said, I still hadn't even been working out then. So I didn't know, like how much my body was going to be able to really go through. I was kind of just winging it. Like, I'll just, I think I can do it. So, anyways, I got the call and stuff, and then that's when I kind of started. I'm like, all right, well, obviously, if I'm going to compete now, I kind of got to get my body in motion and kind of doing things. So I started doing some things, and obviously the back was still uncomfortable, but I was pushing through it and getting through it, and then my first match was supposed to be last August, and I think it was a week or two before the event. They called me and said, hey, I think it was a week. They called me and said, hey, your opponent had failed his medical exams. Is something with his eyes. And I'm like, man, but they're like, we still want to bring you out though. They said, we want you to come out here and experience this. We want you to see everything. They have plans, what I mean? They've got things set up for the future.
Diabolical plan.
Right. So I got they brought me out as like, just a backup, had me weigh in, you still get your show purse, you know what I mean? You still get, the full experience.
Awesome.
I just didn't have to compete that time, which was great because I got to go out. So so when I was out there is when they told me, we're looking at you, you're one of the guys we're looking at for season 2 of the show. I'd love to be involved in. And one of the very first conversations I had with the matchmaker, because my first match was actually, slated to be at 205, and I had asked, I was like, well, can I come, maybe could I go down to middleweight? So one of my first conversations with them was, I'll fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. I don't care who it is. I didn't care about the weight, stuff like that. So
that's why we bang with Bordeaux. You know what I'm saying? Anytime, anywhere. Let's go.
So then when I went to go out there for the reality show was when the first time coming down to 85, right? But at that time I was only walking around at like 194, 195. I was quite a bit smaller than what I am now. So I want to go down to 85, so I went down to 85 for the show, you know what I mean? And then that kind of led into where we are now and staying here at middleweight. And I've said in some other interviews and stuff that I have goals and things that I want to achieve here at middleweight, and after I achieve those goals, then I plan on going up, you know what I mean, and trying to do those same things at a higher weight class. So because I know, yes, exactly. So I've already, since working out and getting back in the gym and doing all that, I put on a lot of muscle mass. I put on weight, you know what I mean. I've pulled fat off my body. I have more muscle and stuff. So I've been walking around right now about 210, 212. So if I took 4 or 5, if I took 4, 5, 6 months, I could really pack on the right muscle to, kind of go up a little bit more and then come down just to 205 instead of going all the way down to 85. So, but like I said, I want to take care of, the goals and everything that I have, down to 85. And then if that opportunity presents itself to eventually go up, then I would definitely not be opposed to it.
Oh yeah, that's what's up, man. You got a hell of a fucking story, bro. You've been through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and exact. So then that's when some people ask, they're like, well, how does it feel getting, hit in the face or this or that? And I'm like, what? Some of the shit that I've been through, especially in my back situation, like this pain or
That's
whatever you
just
want to call
nothing.
it, headaches, that ain't nothing compared to what I've experienced. You know what I mean? I've been,
Yeah.
and my body's been through some shit now. So, I have a little bit different pain tolerance than probably what I had before this whole situation.
So
Oh yeah, you can tell. When you fucking yelled in that dude's face, and I was like, "Holy
Yeah,
shit, this
yeah,
motherfucker's
yeah.
not phased."
No,
I'm not crazy, motherfuckers. I'm just not you.
no, not at all. And that, what I mean? I like to, and right now, I'm really known for having, I'm known for having the chin, which is huge in this sport, you know what I mean? Because I've heard one
Hell
of the
yeah.
guys said, the crazy Hawaiian, the super heavyweight champion, he said it perfectly, actually. He said something about, in order to succeed in this sport, the best thing that you can have to start is having a chin. Right, you can learn a good slap, you can learn the technique and everything. You can't learn to have a chin. That's one of those things that you either have or you don't have. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can have all the power in the world, but if you don't have a chin and you walk up there and you get touched once and you go, oh well, what the hell's the sense of having the power, right?
Yeah. And look at Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he went through a hell of a skid and stuff there. So you know what I mean? Having that chin is huge. You know what I mean? And then you can work on the technique. You'll get better at the offensive side of things.
So speaking about technique, can you elaborate a little bit on technique? I know that people may look at it, go, oh, he's just slapping. I saw a comment in the thing like, oh, someone being goofy. Imagine being in the gym and you seeing somebody on a heavy bag just slapping it, but there's technique behind it. There's got to be, right?
Yes, that's one of the things that with it being so new, is a lot of people don't understand yet, and you got to really look at the rule sets. So when you line up offensively and you're going to strike someone, first and foremost, your feet got to stay flat. You know what I mean? You're allowed to have a minor heel. Yep, you're allowed to have a minor heel lift. You talk to the best guys and stuff, and they tell you the best thing to do is just keep your feet flat at all times. Right? Keep your damn feet flat. Yes, you're allowed a little minor heel lift. You absolutely cannot pivot. When you pivot, that's considered stepping. But yeah, some of those, the OG guys will tell you, the best thing you can do is just keep your feet flat, because it's the last thing you want to do is foul. You know what I mean? One foul can be detrimental to a whole match. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and when I've talked to some of the newer guys that are coming in as well, we got a couple guys message me that were coming onto the show. They just did season 3 of the show and asking for advice. And my biggest advice to new people coming in is worry about the technique before worrying about the power. Right? Because you get these people who go in there and they just go in there to take somebody's head off. Well, they go in there, take somebody's head off, and then they're stepping, or or they're clubbing, and then and then once if you knock somebody out and you foul, then now you're getting DQ'd because your technique's off. So it's huge keeping them feet flat, and then your hand placement. You got guys who are, if you hit too high up, they're going to be called for clubbing. You're going to lose a point. You get down too low in the neck area. The chin and the cheek is your target area, right? And all surfaces have to land at one time. You can't land with your palm. You can't hit somebody by like that. I'd be like palm just the tips of your fingers. So you want all surfaces to land at one time on the jawline, right? So you got to have good placement too, because if you're too deep, you get hit for clubbing. Even if you don't get hit for clubbing, you know what I mean? Hitting somebody,
You don't get a good slap in.
they're going to be a little bit tougher here in their jaw as opposed to the button more down on the chin. And that's kind of what happened with me in the house. My first one was with Eddie, the Canadian guy. My first one and my third one was actually with him. But my first one there was with Eddie, and the first round of the house, and the first couple rounds were absolutely beautiful. If you go back and watch those, the first 2 rounds I rocked him pretty good, and he even said that, and you can visibly see it. The third round, I did something. I watched the film over and over again, and when I go to swing, I pulled back a little bit, so I rolled across the front of his face, so it wasn't, that wasn't as clean as the first 2 rounds. So I got to watch that film back before my second round in the house, and this is just me kind of being dumb. I was watching it. I'm like, you know what? because I got Eddie. Those first two got him. You know what I mean? Real nice right here. But Eddie has a chin, and he was tougher than kind of what I was thinking at that point. Because I was thinking, well, fuck, maybe my hand placement was off. So on my second round, like an idiot, I said, I moved my hand placement up, right? Which I probably could have been hit for clubbing. You know what I mean? I wasn't deep, like real back, but I moved it more up to his jaw. And I think that was probably part of the reason that I didn't, get a knockout in the second round. Because I also watched, some of the other guys Joe has gone against, and the times he has been put down were times that he was hit on his chin, you know what I mean, more down here. And when he got hit more up here were the ones that didn't, didn't sit him down.
Yeah.
So I went back and watched all that film, and I was like, you know what? That was kind of an idiotic move for me to move my hand placement up. But I was lucky that I knew, I knew what I did. And I knew the adjustments to make. I watched the film, I made the adjustment. I said, well, here, let's move my hand up. Well, then when I did it, I looked back and I was like, no, that was stupid. I still got the win. Right. I still got the win and everything. You know what I mean? But, now I break that hand placement back down, you know what I mean? Now aiming more towards the chin instead of being an idiot, aiming up, up higher.
Yeah. Speaking of the clubbing, man, you're still undefeated in my eyes because that draw is bullshit.
Yeah.
They didn't even notify you of the foul until after the match.
What the fuck? Yeah, so that was a whole. I knew it happened on the stage, but it's terrible because on the broadcast, like all family, friends, everybody, I know anybody who watched watched it on TV and stuff, they didn't announce it on the broadcast. But I knew when it happened, you know what I mean, because I heard the ref say it, blah blah blah. I had a little conversation with him up on the stage, so I knew that it had happened. But for it not to be on the broadcast and really confuse the hell out of a bunch of people, here's another thing about the clubbing call.
This is the rematch you're talking about, right? This is the rematch?
Yeah.
PowerSlap 6. So, I'm not saying I didn't club, right? If mine was a club, that's fine. But I'm going to use this as another example. I posted a few weeks ago where there was a post I had of my hand placement where my hand was placed, and then where some other matches' hands were placed, right? Well, with things being new, some of the calls are still a little bit inconsistent, So I had, and I still do. I have the pictures, of some other people whose hands are, way deeper and way more of a club than where mine was at, and they weren't called, and mine was called.
Right.
So it's like, so I saw. If I was a clubbing, that's fine. But then, I've also shared some pictures and stuff too. I got a whole chalk handprint in my eye and on top of my forehead as well. So, like I said, if I clubbed, then don't tell me that when he hit me up there that was a club as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The calls being a little bit inconsistent and stuff. It can jeopardize things, but it if you go back and you watch it, and like I said earlier, when you lose a point, it's detrimental to a match, right? I mean, that 1 point can cost you the whole match. So usually when you see somebody foul, it's usually game over. So to be able to, even get that draw from that was, pretty good. That just shows, that I dominated.
I was about to say that lets you know that you whooped his ass.
I dominated the other rounds, right? So, now, if you look back between both the fights, and I've said this, many different times, we went 6 rounds. I've won 5 out of the 6 rounds. The one round that he won was that round that, I gave him, by fouling. So, to me, that those 2 matches, that's not a very close, when somebody wins 5 out of the 6 rounds, the one round that guy won was a round that, you fouled. To me, to me, it's not even really, it's not close at all. There's other people that I've watched it as well. And also, if you hear the scorecards, there was one of the judges still gave me the fight, too. So one of the judges gave me the fight. The other 2 had it a draw. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I said, some of the inconsistency with the calls and stuff. I mean, there's guys out there. There's guys out there right now who have losses that, might, maybe shouldn't have a loss.
Fucking judges, bro.
Because of a call and stuff. It happens.
Listen, I know Dana White has been around many of fights. And I seen his expression on your defense on that joint. So I mean, he was like, ooh, even he knew what time it was.
It's good to be able to, impress those guys. Obviously, those are the bosses and stuff. So to be able to go out there and and coming into PowerSlap, I I didn't 100% know if I had a really good chin. You know, you always, as a man or as a person in general, you always have confidence in yourself, right? But like, you don't know if you have a chin until you really know that you have a chin. Like, I did MMA, I did all that stuff, you know what I mean, boxing and whatnot. But I never, in any of my MMA fights, I never really even, you know, I mean, I never took a good shot. I was 5-0 in MMA, and all of my fights were, you know, are all finishes in the first round. You know, I was a big wrestler, so it was just, you know, I mean, these amateur guys and stuff, that quick takedown, you know, ground and pound the hell out of them. You know what I mean? That's over with. So
I do have a question regarding that, right?
Yep.
Not the MMA. I'll come back to that though, or maybe my cousin will. But
yep.
But so I was watching the rules on PowerSlap.com. Dana White was saying them, and he said you can't shrug your shoulders. But I like that you shrug your shoulders.
See a lot of people
you're using your neck. So why did they let you? Like, is that a rule or is it not a rule?
So what they don't want you doing is, like, they say that they want you to stand in more of like a natural, you know what I mean, like a kind of like a natural stance, right? But if you think about a natural stance, some of these guys, and which I think's not good, they lean like over top of the podium, and they kind of like stick their chin out. Well, you're feeding that person your damn chin, and that's not a natural position either. So, but the refs, like, if you shrug too much, they'll stop you. You know what I mean? And make you readjust. But if you're leaning over the table and stuff, they don't seem to stop. I don't know if I've seen them stop many people from doing this. That's why you see some people, you know, smack their head off the podium, because they're leaning forward like that. They're feeding people their chin. So, you know, as myself, I try to sit back some, and I have bigger traps and bigger shoulders. So I try to utilize, you know what I mean? Try to utilize that stuff to protect. Now, I can't, you know, shrug them up way like that, but, you know, if I get that behind my back and even just, you know, flex my neck, that's what I really try to do. And I do tons of neck workouts. I do lots of trap workouts, shoulder workouts to keep all this stuff really strong. And like I said, if you get those traps, you know, nice and big, and they can kind of brace your head from bouncing from side to side. And then the neck workout thing that I have is it's like a halo thing I put on, and it actually hooks. It hooks from the front. Yep. It hooks from the side, this side. It hooks from the back. So like, you can hit your neck muscles at every angle. So when I do it, I start by doing it. I'll do each side. I'll do one side, and I do the other side. And then I actually hook it at the front. I do it like this, and then I hook it in the back. Do it from the back. So I hit every single direction, and I try to do that every day, if not every other day. And I can tell you the difference. Then my neck strength is huge. And growing up as a wrestler, you know, I mean, I grew up wrestling my whole life too. So when you grow up doing that kind of stuff, you know, I mean, you already kind of
champion, huh?
yeah. You have a strong neck from doing those, you know, I mean, from doing that sport forever, anyways. So, coming into this, that all helps. So now I'm just trying to build on to what I already had, you know what I mean, and just trying to make my chin, you know, as indestructible as I possibly can, because, you know, nobody wants to get knocked out. You know what I mean? So there's something I'm going to concentrate on. You know what I mean? I'm really going to concentrate on doing everything I can to prevent myself from, you know, having to go down that road and getting knocked out.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to see.
I've seen a match recently. It was, I forget the guy's name, man. It was DeBell versus somebody else. But he kept every second measure. Like, he'd measure, and then he'd do 1, 2, and then right when he was about to slap, you see the guy like, and I'm like, damn, that's not illegal.
And it's shrug. So what they'll tell you is like, and it's a fine line, but there's got to be a fine line between clinching and flinching.
Oh yeah,
right.
No flinching. Yeah.
No. Right. No flinching, because obviously if you flinch, and you know you're gonna get hit again.
Takes the power away.
Yeah. Right. A few minutes ago we were talking about the fouls, right? You got stepping fouls, you got clubbing fouls, you know, and then you got like flinching fouls. Well, when you're on defense, the last thing you want to do is flinch, because if you flinch, then you're gonna get hit again. You know, so don't flinch. Whatever you do, don't flinch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Staring at him, focus.
Yeah, just get it. You know what I mean? I that's, you know what I mean. I've been able to. I've had people ask me, they're like, "How the hell do you take a shot like that without flinching?" And I'm like, "Well, the last thing I want to do is get hit twice in a row like that." So, you know what I mean? I'm gonna clinch down and I'm gonna take the shot, because I don't want to. You know what I mean? I don't want to get hit and flinch, and then, you know what I mean, maybe you get a little rocked off from that, and then they get to hit you again right away, and you have, you know what I mean, you have no time to recover. That's when you're going to get put out. You know what I mean? If you're already rocked a little bit, and then you have to go take that second shot right away with no recovery, that, you know what I mean, you're gonna get put out like that. So
You only get 30 seconds to recover, right?
is it 30? Yeah, is it a minute? It might be a minute afterwards. And then if it's a foul, like if you get fouled, like you get clubbed or something like that, I think you might get like 2 minutes to recover.
That's better.
Something like that. Yeah. So
Tom, let me ask a couple questions, man.
yeah.
So let's see. So what's your favorite moment of your career so far?
Man, I'd say, man, the favorite moment. It's hard to pinpoint one. You know what I mean? We're still early, but like, I talk about with a lot of people the experiences that are going to come with all of this. You know what I mean? Like being at the event and the competing and all that. It's all amazing, right? That's all awesome. Being up on that stage, being under the lights, the production, the show, all that stuff. All that stuff's amazing. But what I'm really trying to soak up, and my brother, and he always brings a friend or a couple friends with us when we go out there and stuff, is really trying to soak up the experiences and the things that have come with it, the people we've gotten to meet, the things we've gotten to do, the friends that I've made in PowerSlap already. You know what I mean? Without PowerSlap, I wouldn't have got to do, this whole last year of my life. You know what I mean? I would have got to experience any of this. If you follow me on social media, you see the last time we were out in Vegas in April. We got to spend a whole night hanging out with Dana White, you know what I mean? And the people that we've met at the after parties, the people we've met just being in Vegas. We were there in February for PowerSlap 6, and obviously the Super Bowl's going on, right? So there's NFL players all over the place. Well, we go to walk into Caesar's Palace, just go check it out, right? Baker Mayfield's walking at us right through the main doors.
Oh shit!
It all happens so quick that I look back at my brother and his friend and Walker. And I'm like, Baker Mayfield. You know what I mean? As he walks past us, we're like, "Oh, Baker!" You know what I mean? So all getting fist bumps, but it all happens so fast that you're like, "Oh, fuck, man! I didn't get a, you know what I mean? I didn't get a picture with him."
Yeah.
But at the same time, those guys, they always are getting cameras and stuff stuck in their face, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So sometimes I'm sure maybe they appreciate just saying, hey, what's up, man, and keep going, not constantly getting that camera stuck in their face. But you know what I mean, us as being like fans and stuff like that, you're like, oh shit, I didn't get that picture. But you know what I mean. And then the next night we're at the PowerSlap 6 after party, and you're getting to meet like Machine Gun Kelly and Charles Barkley, and you're getting to meet all these, you're getting to meet the comedians and Tom Brady. Tom Brady was at the event. He was just there briefly, so I didn't get to meet him in person. But being able to see those guys, in person and stuff like that, the people who come out is just absolutely crazy. And then the last event had a bunch of the WWE guys there, you know what I mean? And Cowboy Cerrone, he's big into the PowerSlap stuff, so he's always around, you know what I mean? You see a lot of the fighters. Tom Aspinall was at the last one. Ilya Taporia was at the last one, so you see some of the UFC guys coming out and stuff like that. I know Michael Chandler's been to him before and stuff like that. So it's going back to your question, it's probably the experiences and everything that I'm really trying to soak up, you know what I mean? And then potentially going to Abu Dhabi and stuff in October, and then, you know what I mean, just we're going to start traveling to other states and stuff like that. So I'm really trying to enjoy the experiences, and going back to the hanging out with, whoever was going out there with him is, like I said, my brother and his friend. I really wanted them to be able to meet Dana White. Right. I've gotten to meet him through the show and stuff and so when we got to spend that night, we got to hang out with him for like 7 or 8 hours when we were out there this last time. And getting to do that, and my brother meet Dana, not just meet Dana, like literally getting to sit
hang out with him
right in a private spot and just carry on like normal day-to-day conversations with him was absolutely crazy. And we got done with that night, and my brother and his friend were like, dude, that was like one of the best nights of my life. And they're like, for who Dana is and for what they have, he is one of the nicest, most down-to-earth people I've ever met.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's absolutely crazy. So, and what happened was, it was the night of weigh-in. So, you do our weigh-in stuff in the morning, and then usually like afternoon, nighttime, everybody's kind of going out to go get food in restaurants, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And so it was about 9:30. We got together like 4 or 5 of the other guys, and we went to one of the bars on Fremont Street just to get some food. Because one of the other guys worked there. So we went to get some food with them, and the bar was dead. Obviously, it was early, so we're just eating and stuff, and we're punching those punching machine, those games. They had one of those there, so we're all playing around, slapping that, punching that, messing around, and So we're like, an hour or two went by. Well, let's go down. Let's go check out some of the other spots on Fremont Street, right? So we get down to the far end of Fremont Street, and we go into this bar, a random bar. We're like, let's go in here for a little bit, and we go in, and I always dress like athletic wear. You know what I mean? Like I wear like a shirt like this, and I'll have like nice Nike shorts on. But if you guys follow my social media, so you see I'm big into shoes. So
I was gonna bring that up too.
Yeah. I've got like 4,000 shoes on my feet. We go to walk into this bar, and they look at me and they say, "You can't come in because of your shorts." And we're like, "All right." So we just turn around and go to walk away. Well, we have our slap stuff on, and then my buddy Manny, who's champion at 170, has got his belt with him. So when they did so when we turn around and go to walk away, they notice who we are. They're like, you hear some of the other security guy says, "No, stop those guys, get them back in here." You know what I mean? And the bar was dead anyway, so they're like, one, they didn't want to, they seen there were PowerSlap guys and stuff like that, so they wanted us in there. And two, the bar is dead, so why turn away people if they're going to bring money in?
Right.
If they're going to come buy a couple drinks, you can turn them away for having some damn shorts on. So another security guard comes and gets us and is bringing us in. Well, when they're bringing us in, they said, "Hey, your guys' boss Dana's next door." And we're looking around, we're like Dana's not next door. We're at just some small little hole in the wall on Fremont Street. We're like, yeah, okay. And she's like, no, I'm serious. Dana's next door. We're like, okay. Still didn't really believe her. We're like, oh, okay. Dana could literally be anywhere in Vegas that he wants to be. Why is he going to be at this little small bar on Fremont Street? So we had a couple drinks and stuff in there, or the guys who were drinking. My brother and those guys are out there just enjoying their time, right? So they're out there drinking. So they bought a couple drinks and stuff. And we're like, well, let's go next door and see, we'll just get word to security. Maybe we get lucky and get in there and see Dana. So we get in line and we get up to the front of the security and we're like, hey, the security told us that Dana's in here. Is there any way that you guys could get word to him that a couple of the PowerSlap guys are here? Just want to see him. And they're like, they're kind of looking at us like, yeah, here, let's put you guys. So they sectioned us off to the side a second. Well, the spot that he's in, there's a few different bars right there. Well, the spot that he's in, the curtains are all down, everything's blacked out, you know what I mean? Because they don't want a big crowd standing outside because Dana, and he's just trying to enjoy his quiet time. Yeah. And so they sectioned us off. Well, they're standing in front of the door and they're texting. Like you can tell they're texting security inside to try to get word to them. Well, just as they're doing that, Dana's right-hand man, Hunter Campbell, comes walking up. And we obviously deal with Hunter too, so he knows who we are. We're all like, "Oh, Hunter," you know what I mean? We're talking to Hunter for a minute. And then he must have, when he went to walk in the door, he must have popped the door up and said, "Hey, Dana, a couple of PowerSlap guys are here." Because Dana almost come running up to the door and he sticks his head out and he's like, he sees us, he's like, "Oh, fuck, you guys, get in here. So that there was 5 or 6 of us, and we go walk in, they shut the door behind us, and we look up and we're like, holy shit, there's only like 10 or 15 people in here. Dana's like, "Hey guys, this is my private spot." He says, you guys want to stay in here and hang out with us? He says, you guys want food or drinks, whatever you guys want at the bar, go ahead. He goes, if you walk through here and you go out those back doors, there's a public DJ and a dance floor and stuff. If you guys want to go out there, or if you want to hang out in here, you guys are more than welcome to. And we're just like, holy shit, thanks, boss. So we ended up staying there with him. I don't think Dana ended up leaving until like 1:30, 2 o'clock, somewhere right in there. And then after he left, we stayed for a couple more hours with his son and his son's group of friends. Just hanging out, having a good time, dancing. They had this drummer up there. His name's Peter. I met him and everything too. He's a cool ass guy. He's up there. What they do is the DJ plays songs. Well, the DJ was playing songs, and they have a drummer that's got to keep up with the songs and stuff. So it was a pretty cool little vibe. Just a small little spot. So to be able to be in that setting, and hang out with Dana and just have casual conversation and stuff with them, that's stuff not very many people ever get to do. So, that's when, I was super stoked for my brother and his friend to be able to, that was kind of one of my goals, like I said, was to get those guys to be able to meet, some of these other guys.
Yeah, that's a fucking dope experience.
When they were able to meet Dana and stuff like that, it was, it was crazy. I remember we're standing around the bar and Dana's literally sitting right next to us, and my brother's friend Walker, he says to me, he's like, "Hey, do you think I watched this podcast with Dana a couple times? Do you think I could ask him about it?" I'm like, "Dude, ask Dana anything." I said, he's cool as hell. He's extremely cool. So he goes over there and just starts carrying on just, a random conversation about podcasts and stuff with Dana. And Dana will sit there and just, he'll sit there and just chat with you all night. And I think he's a big hearted person. I think, you got this stupid ass media and stuff like that like to shit on everybody, but they, they really like to go after people like Dana White and stuff. And a lot of these people and even fans and stuff, they don't understand what
I
Dana
love
does
Dana.
for people. They don't understand what Dana does for people behind closed doors. I mean, I don't know if people, have you guys heard the Joe Pfeiffer story? You know what I mean? That Dana gave him like, I think it was $300,000 or $400,000 to go buy a house. Something happened. He didn't have a house or something like that. You're right. Those kind of stories aren't what the media covers because they want to cover the negative things, but they don't cover the things that, you know what I mean? Maybe a lot of people don't know about it, but even if they did, they still wouldn't cover it because they're more interested in covering the negative bullshit than they are the
Drama.
positive things. You know what I mean? But that's the kind of shit Dana does behind closed doors for his employees and for his fighters and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I could imagine that people who actually outside of the roster, like work for him, like at the Apex and the PI and stuff like that. Like I guarantee you, they take care of those guys really well because Dana's a very, very, very good person. And leading into that, the next night, so that was Thursday night that we hung out with Dana and everything, right? Well, they always do an after party after the events. And they're usually at so PowerSlap 6 was at the Durango, so we did the after party in the high limits at the Durango. Anytime the fights are at the Apex and stuff, they usually go over to the Red Rock Casino. And then this after party will be at the Fountain Blue because that's where we're competing at. So anyway, so after the fights got done Friday, we took a Uber over to Red Rock, and I'd never been over there to go over and see it. That place is fucking beautiful, extremely beautiful place. So we walk in, we get to the high limits and stuff, and we were kind of going in to go watch, because what happens is Dana and a couple of his buddies will gamble, right? While everybody kind of comes in and they all kind of crowd around and watch because these guys are, they're playing, real money hands. We aren't talking $100, couple $100. We're talking thousands. You know what I mean? 50,000.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah. Yes. And so we had gotten in there. Well, I wanted to see Sketch real quick, and you guys know who he is and everything on social media.
The streamer.
Yep. So I met him just real briefly because I wanted to get over. I was kind of trying to watch Dana. Well, we walk into the high limits. Well, we were just with Dana the night before, right? Well, he's seen us walk in, so he's like, "Hey, Branden, what's up?" So now that Dana, Dana knows me by name, stuff like that. That's even cool because when we got into that bar that night, I didn't know if Dana deals with so many people and knows so many people. You know what I mean? So when we got into the bar, I whispered in his ear. I just said, "Hey, Dana, I'm Branden, the one with he knows me by my shoes, the Chunky Dunkies that I wear for my fights." So I said, "Hey, I'm Branden, the one with the Ben and Jerry's." And he steps back from me a little bit. He says, "You don't think I know who you are? I know exactly who you are." So when he said that, I was like, feels kind of good. You know what I mean? I've made my matches and what I've done so far have had an impact enough for him that he knows, for him to know who the hell you are. So
he's posted you quite a few times.
Yep. So then the next night when I seen him, obviously, he's like, "Hey, Branden." So we're standing there watching him gamble, right? Well, there's a younger couple standing next to me. Well, in blackjack, they do something with splitting the deck. They take a black card, and shove it in there, split the deck. I don't know the rules. I'm not a big gambler. Anyways, they're going to split this deck. Well, Dana looks over and he sees this younger girl standing, next to me and her boyfriend and stuff like that. He just looking for somebody. He calls her over there. He hands her that black card, has her split the deck. Well, she splits the deck. He hands her a $5,000 chip. She's like, "Holy shit." Goes walking back to her. I mean, she's probably her early 20s. This is getting $5,000 handed to you. I was like, holy fuck. She walks back over to her boyfriend. And they're talking for a second, and then she walks back over to Dana and she says, "Hey, will you gamble this for me?" Dana's like, "I like your style." He grabs the chip, plays the hand for her, wins it, doubles it to $10,000, hands her both the chips, and she's like, "Can I take a picture with you?" He's like, "Yeah, absolutely." Takes a picture with her, and they went on their way. Well, just as I did that, I stepped around directly behind Dana. And he's teaching this person next to him how to gamble. Like I said, I'm not a big gambler, but I'm just listening to Dana. Dana's he's really good at blackjack. So if there's somebody, if you're ever going to learn blackjack from, it's probably somebody like him. So I'm listening to what he's saying, and I'm carrying on just casual, conversation with Dana here and there. And I'm saying like 10, 15 minutes. All of a sudden, Dana turns around and hands me a chip. And I just, I didn't want to make a big deal of it. So I grabbed the chip, stuck it in my pocket. I'm like, "Thanks, boss." We just carry on a conversation with him for a few more minutes. And 2 minutes goes by. He says, "Take that, go play some cards and go enjoy yourself." And I was like, "Thanks, boss." So I went over to my brother and his friend, and I pulled that chip out of my pocket, and he handed me a $1,000 chip. And I was like, fuck. Well, just as he did that, AJ, PowerSlap social media lady, she's standing next to me. Well, Dana handed her like 3 or 4 more of the $1,000 chips, said, "Hey, go find a couple more of the PowerSlap guys and give them these." So, it's little things. What I'm getting at is it's little things like those that that people don't see and the media don't see and stuff like that, that Dana does for his fighters or his employees and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That doesn't get the doesn't get the recognition from the media. So, you know what I mean? When there's people who have had experiences with Dana, who know Dana, who tell you that he is a very good person, he has a very big heart and stuff like that, those are the people who know Dana. I'm not saying I know Dana personally, but I've had a few, interactions and, stuff with him.
Yeah.
I've got to, he is a very good person and he really does care about people and he really will.
He even says it.
He will take care of his
when
people.
When he's questioned about like fighter pay and shit like that, and he's like, "Bro, you guys have no idea how I take care of my guys.
Mhm.
Like I take care of my guys, and like and you're vouching for that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a fucking good dude.
That's exactly what I'm vouching for. Is when it comes to so many people go to fighter pay. Want to talk about fighter pay? People want to shit on the fighter pay and the stuff like that. Like I just said, you aren't hearing about the backdoor deals or the $400,000 that he gave to Pfeiffer to go buy a house or stuff like that. Of course, they're only going to cover, it looks like this person only made X amount. They didn't make very much. You don't know any kind of backdoor deals that are done or if Dana's handing them a bonus just to be, because he's nice and wants to hand them a bonus. Like you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So to make a fucking judgment like that real quick, and just go off of your judgment, you don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know exactly what's going on. Now, it's most people that you talk to, UFC fighters and stuff like that, like they're making good money. You know what I mean? They're not hurting. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Especially the big guys and everything like that. So, at the same time, you also have to look at it from a business standpoint. And I do that. Me and my brother own our own small business. So you got to look at things from a business standpoint too, right? So if the UFC, they're the ones paying the fighters. Well, if the business isn't making money, right, the business has to make money in order to feed the employees, right? Yeah. So in order for the employees to get paid, well, the business has to make money. Well, they're also running a business too, so the whole business aspect has to go into everything as well, right? So these guys know what the hell they're doing when it comes to Dana and his team and all those guys. They know what the hell they're doing, and that's why PowerSlap has succeeded as it has. You know what I mean? Because if you get there's some smaller organizations and stuff in the States. I know it's really big over in Russia. Places like that is where it's really big. And that's where Dana had seen it all first. He's seen it all over in Russia and stuff. And was like, man, if I could get some sanctioning behind this, I get some rules in place and stuff like that, I think I could really make something out of this. So that's when, he jumped into it, and started getting stuff sanctioned and started putting rules behind it and all that other stuff, and it's just gradually, been blowing up. But you would see, if you just took a random person and they tried to start something like this, it's probably not going to work because, people look at it and they're like, oh, they're just slapping each other. They're just, they think it's barbaric or stupid. Well, where were we 30 years ago with the UFC? If you listen to Dana,
like fucking human cockfighting.
It's the exact same situation we're in with PowerSlap right now, right? Nobody wants to watch
every time he fucking responds to the critics.
Yep. Everything was so brutal. It was so this. It was so that. It was blah blah. The same shit that they're saying about PowerSlap now is what they said about the UFC. Well, look where the UFC is at now.
But I want to add this. But I want to add this, and maybe you could co-sign this, Brandon. I don't know, but for all those out there who think it's whack, get on stage real quick. Let's see what's up. Right?
Try it.
Let's break that jaw real quick and see what's up.
You talk all that shit. You know what I mean? Try to step up there.
Get up there. Let's see what's up. Man. I'm sorry to cut you off. But
no, you're good. You're good. No, and you're exactly right. You know what I mean? And it's there's not enough people out there really giving it a
respect.
You know what I mean? Respect or a chance or stuff like that. You know what I mean? I like all forms of combat sports. You know what I mean? So I just naturally, you know what I mean? When Dana started this and everything, I just naturally liked it. It wasn't something that I only liked because Dana was doing it. Like once I started seeing it, I started looking into it more. I was like, I appreciate all forms of combat sports. You know what I mean? So this was another one that I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? This is cool. You know what I mean? If you get somebody like these guys behind it, they could really blow this up into something. And that's what I was getting at is I feel like if you just took a random person and they tried to start something like this, it would be very hard for it to succeed. But with Dana and his team and everything that they've done behind the UFC, you know what I mean? They're just applying all that into PowerSlap, and they're some of the biggest and best business people in the world. You know what I mean? And the last thing Dana White's ever going to let happen is let the media win. You know what I mean? Because when this all first started, it was all, this is all so fucking stupid. The slapping, it ain't gonna last. Blah 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 blah. Well, now look at it. You know what I mean? It's just blowing up.
Yeah.
And what they've done in the last year or two, you know, just a year and a half is really what's been, you know what I mean, kind of mainstream, is it's gone absolutely crazy. And the world of social media has really, you know what I mean, really people behind it, and it's how they're doing everything is why it's blowing up like it is. You know, it's they put so much into it. And like I said, you know, I mean, if anybody ever gets a chance to go to a live show, I'm telling you, live, it is fucking amazing. It's cool to watch on TV. It's cool to watch on your phone. But I'm telling you, and this is one thing, and if you guys watch that documentary that I was telling you about earlier, Dana prides himself on production, the production of the show while you're there, the production of the show on the TV, all that stuff. And I'm telling you guys, when you're there in person, it is a completely different world because of the production, the light show, the everything that they put on and have going on. When you're there live, it is absolutely fucking insane. You know what I mean? And they're doing all that same stuff and the production stuff and doing it all with the TV, you know what I mean? The TV deals and everything like that. I know Dana said at the last event, because, you know, you'll see Dana out there sitting front row and stuff. Well, this last event, he was out there for a couple of them. And then the other ones, he went back into his room and watched them on the TV because he wanted to see how it's all being presented on the TV. So that way he can make the adjustments to make sure it's all being, you know what I mean? He says that's where, you know what I mean? If you listen to him, I'm sure you guys have heard him talk about like boxing and stuff and how all their production shows and everything fucking suck. He tells you that, you know, Dana always tells you how it is, especially the boxing and stuff like that. He's like, the production, everything absolutely fucking sucks. You know what I mean? So when they're separating themselves with the TV production is absolutely amazing. And then when you're there in person, I'm sure anybody who's been to a live UFC event can speak to the same thing. But when you're there in person, it's like, holy fuck, this is crazy just to see everything going on. It's so cool. And how they run everything so smooth. You know what I mean? The behind the scenes things. It's just, they really know what the hell they're doing. And that's why this is what it is. And that's why it'll be what it'll be, is because of Dana and his team.
That's right. The vision.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I have a personal, this is a personal question. Did you get a chance to meet Nina Drama? I know she was out there. I love Nina Drama, dude.
I haven't talked to her. Yeah, she is hilarious. She's really good for the media and stuff too, right? In this world of negativity and all this stupid shit, you know what I mean? And all these media coverage, I always want to focus on the negative. Well, you got Nina out here. She's having fun with things. You know what I mean? Being more fun and jokingly media and stuff. That's what's more fun. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure Dana appreciates that. And like, I know us guys at the PowerSlap, we appreciate that. And I'm sure the UFC guys, you know what I mean? It's more fun to go into an interview and have fun with the people instead of being probed about negativity and bullshit and stupid questions, right? When you get somebody like that who's fun with things. But no, I haven't had any personal experiences with her yet. I'm sure, you know what I mean? I you know, get this next big knockout and I get to this damn title fight and stuff. I get that title in my hand, you know what I mean? Then you're, you know what I mean? You start getting more, you know what I mean, one-on-one interviews and stuff with her and things like that. Opens up more avenues. But she's phenomenal for the UFC media, for the PowerSlap media. You know, anybody who helps bring more attention and more eyes and more light to the support, or, you know, everything like that. At least from myself, I tell all of those guys, thank you, because that's what we're trying to do as the athletes. And that's what they're trying to do as the promoters and business owners, right? Are trying to bring attention, bring eyes, you know what I mean? All that stuff in. So when we can get people like her who are media coverage, who are all in on it and absolutely love it. You know what I mean? I've seen videos of her sitting in her bed on her computer, you know what I mean, on her computer watching season 2 of our show. You know what I mean? That's, you know, some dedication to watching that stuff, right? And then, like, you know, you guys getting involved with me and stuff, and now, you know what I mean, your audience being introduced to PowerSlap, and you know what I mean? Those are the type of things that I look at, and I'm really appreciative for you guys and all those people, because we're all helping bring attention and bring everything to the sport as it's needed. It takes everybody to help build things up. There's enough negativity in the world. There's enough negative idiots online. You know what I mean? We don't need any more negativity. You know, we need more positivity in the world. You know what I mean? In the world in general, and you know what I mean, in the sports and stuff as well.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. So I told you I got a few I guess like off questions.
Yeah, anything.
It might be a little weird, but
you're good.
All right, so I wrote this down. If you could turn your life into a movie, what would it be called, and who would play you?
Hey.
Oh boy.
Gotta give
Man.
think about that.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Say Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise.
Yeah. One of those big time famous people. That'd be cool. Man, I don't know. I don't know what I would name it or who I'd really have, but it could definitely be a hell of a story. You know what I mean? From where
Yeah, you do have a crazy
just the
story.
things, you know what I mean? Just the things that I've been through, and everybody has their own story, and everybody's been through things. It ain't, you know what I mean? It ain't just me. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? There's definitely a lot of stories to be told, and I've definitely had an interesting life and stuff for sure, to say the least. And you know, I had a great childhood. You know what I mean? I had great parents. I had a great family and great brothers. You know, I have an older brother and a younger brother. You know what I mean? So I've had a great life growing up. We grew up on a farm our whole lives. You know what I mean? So as kids, you know what I mean? Our whole childhood all the way up until I was a sophomore in high school, we pretty much spent living on a farm. You know what I mean? So for a kid, that's like a dream come true. You know what I mean? We have hundreds and thousands of acres to roam and play on, and literally do whatever the hell we wanted to do. I mean, we had four wheelers and dirt bikes, and we showed 4-H as kids. So we would take like our 4-H tracks, and we went with B vehicles, and we drive these vehicles to cornfields. You know what I mean? It was so fun being able to grow up how we did, and I am so damn appreciative for the life that my parents gave us as kids. You know what I mean? Because it's formed me into who I am today, and my brothers and stuff as well. And you know, and I tell my kids, you know, nowadays, you know, some of the best memories I have ever were growing up on that farm. You know what I mean? As kids, and just roaming and playing, and you know what I mean? We're just being kids. We're running around with BB guns and 410s. I mean, we're shooting squirrels. We're shooting, you know, birds. You know, we're driving four wheelers. We're going and playing in the swamps. We're beating the hell out of vehicles. You know what I mean? We got to do all kinds of stuff, which, you know what I mean? Now in life, you know what I mean? Yes, it's made, you know what I mean? The experiences and stuff through all that was just, you know, absolutely amazing. And I'm, you know, extremely thankful for, you know what I mean, how I got to grow up and the things that I got to do. You know what I mean? I know there's lots of kids and lots of people out there who, you know, I mean, didn't have the greatest childhoods and stuff. And I'm very aware of all that stuff. And that's why I'm as appreciative as I am of the things that I got to experience and the things that I got to do, because I have, you know, I've seen friends and I've seen people who haven't had good, you know, didn't have good childhoods and stuff like that, a lot to what my parents and stuff were able to do for us, and be able to take care of us. And now that leads into how I take care. They always wanted to give us the things that they couldn't have as kids, or that they didn't have as kids, right? And my parents worked their ass off, and you know, I mean, we were spoiled. We got a lot of things. We got to do a lot of things. You know what I mean? But it was because my parents worked their ass off and tried to give us. You know what I mean? Our parents aren't out buying new clothes and stuff all the time, but they're out buying us new clothes, or they're taking us to do this, right? They're sacrificing themselves and their money and stuff for us. You know what I mean? As kids and whatnot. So now, you know what I mean? That's it. And then I've also looked at it, you know what I mean? I want to give my kids the things I wasn't be able to have, but now I look at it, I'm like, how the fuck you know what I mean? My parents made sure that we
yeah,
had
you guys have everything.
stuff, you know what I mean? Yes. You know what I mean? We had a great life and experiences and stuff, and
That's
you know
what's
what I
up,
mean?
man. That's how mom and dad.
How do I try to How do I try to give my kids, you know what I mean, the same thing? But we try to, you know what I mean? I spoil the hell out of my kids, you know. I do a lot of, you know, extra things, to buy them a lot of things, you know what I mean? But I'm always trying to teach them along the way as well, you know what I mean? Is be appreciative, you know what I mean? When we buy you things or get you guys things, you know, you be appreciative of any gifts people give you. You don't ever expect anything, right? You know what I mean? I try to teach them to be, you know, I mean, I want to spoil them, I want to take care of them and everything, you know what I mean? But I also got to teach them that, you know, in life,
Create
everything
good people.
right, it isn't handed to you as well, right? We have to work our asses off to get, you know, the things that we have and the things that we do, you know, all come from hard work. Everything is just handed to you. So, you know, it's been, you know, like I said, from my childhood and the things we got to experience and do, and like I mentioned, 4-H and stuff. We were heavily involved in 4-H. Those are some of the best memories of my life. You know what I mean? And you know, all the way up through adulthood and everything. So, I mean, I'm sure there's definitely some producers out there that can make a killer movie off it. But
Oh yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your brothers, are they at all into like mixed martial arts, or any of them thinking about maybe venturing into slap at some point, you know?
So my just a second. My older brother, he's like 5 years older than me. I'll be 32 this year, so I'll be 37. When like MMA started getting real hot and everything, like 2012, 2013 in Michigan, you know what I mean? We call it like the wild, wild west days. That's before shit was all sanctioned, you know what I mean? As people could be out slamming beers in the parking lot and go jump in the cage, or you know what I mean, smoking down a whole damn cigarette and then go walk in the cage and stuff like that. That's before everything was all sanctioned. And my older brother got in there like, you know, just one time, and you know, he didn't end up, you know, doing it any more than that. And then but they follow, you know what I mean, they follow UFC and stuff. I don't think they're quite into it as much as I am, you know what I mean, because I'm like really, really deeply invested into it. They know what's going on and stuff, but they're not deeply invested as I am. My younger brother, he went through high school. Actually, he was a football player. You know what I mean? He wrestled a little bit. He wrestled in middle school. When I graduated high school, I came back to his school and coached middle school wrestling for a couple of years. And then he had just started then. Well, actually, those couple of years, he did really good. He went undefeated his 7th and 8th grade year with me coaching him. And then he went to go into high school, and he really liked football, right? So before he ever even went into high school, we were contemplating on moving him out of schools because the school that we were at, the football team just wasn't very good. You know what I mean? They haven't been winning many games, and you don't want to be part of, you know what I mean, losing all the time. It fucking sucks.
Right.
So we were contemplating on moving him. Well, we're like, well, let's give it a year or two in high school and let's see. Well, a year or so went by and nothing was changing. So we took him and one of his good buddies, and we moved him down to it's called Muskegon Catholic Central. It's about 45 minutes or so away from where we live, and it's a real deal football program down there. I think they won. I think they're tied for the most state titles in Michigan football history. I think they have 13, 12, 13, somewhere in there, all time. And then when we moved him down there, his senior class ended up winning 4 state titles in a row.
Hey,
Ended up winning four football state titles in a row. So for him to be able to experience all that, everything, and I made a post on my social media a few weeks ago about that was my brother and his friend, and they're the ones that, you know, have come out to Vegas and stuff with me. And it was just kind of crazy how things have come full circle, because them moving to that school, like I had a huge part in that. You know what I mean? I was pushing my parents, and then Walker, you know what I mean? We're kind of pushing them to like, let's get these guys out of here. Let's get them to a school. Let's get them to a real school where they, you know, these guys have dreams. They want to win state titles. You know, they might want to go on to college to play football, and it's just not going to happen here. So, you know, I was a big driving factor into them, you know, going down there. And then that was the highlight of my week, you know, and those couple of years that they were there playing, you know, I mean, Friday night was the highlight of my week, going there and watching them. I mean, I'm not kidding you. They were so damn good. They had like a running clock on everybody by halftime. I mean, they were up by 35 points on everybody by halftime. They absolutely dismantled everybody. They were so good. So to be able to, you know what I mean, be able to watch them, be able to support them, and be a big driving factor and all of that. And then here we are a few years later, and now it's come full circle to now they're coming with me out to Vegas, you know what I mean? And now they're watching me and they're supporting me, you know what I mean? And they're right there. So to watch that full circle moment, you know what I mean? It's been,
That's beautiful.
That's a real cool situation. But I think when it comes to like, you know, my older brother and my younger brother, when it comes to, you know, sports and stuff like that, I think I'm probably way more into sports and stuff than they are. You know, they have their own, you know, their own things in their own life, stuff that they have to do. My younger brother's, he's a big time farmer. We grew up on the farm and stuff, so that's still to this day. He still works when we're not slaughtering and stuff, or even the days we do slaughter. He's wild. I mean, we'll go out slaughtering all morning. You know, I mean, we'll slaughter from 7 in the morning until 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon, and then we'll come home, get all our shit cleaned up, and then he goes to the farm for another 4 or 5 hours before you. You're wild, but he's got, you know, I mean, he's learned great work ethic and everything from working on a farm. And that's some of the best work that you can do as a kid, to really teach you about hard work and stuff, because, you know, I mean, a lot of shit that you do it ain't easy, you know what I mean? So it creates, you know, it creates character and stuff like that, for sure.
We need farmers, so we thank you and we thank your family, and your brothers, for sure.
Up, 'cause I don't know nothing about that life.
Yeah, and it's, you know, just like any other business, it's not, you know, it's not easy, you know what I mean? It's got its ups and downs, and there's a lot of work and stuff that goes into it. And you got your crop farming and stuff that goes on, and then you got, you know, your animals and your milking and stuff like that. So like the farm that he works at, they milk 1,400 head of cow a day. So I think I think what they do is they have to milk around the clock. So, every few hours, what I mean, they're in there milking. But one huge side of that business is the milking and the cows and the animals, and then they have the whole other side is all the crops.
Nice.
What I mean, all the crop farming too. So I mean, it's one big massive operation. You know what I mean? But he's been doing this. I mean, like I said, we grew up on the farm, so he was doing this stuff as a kid, and literally has been doing it ever since he was 7, 8, 9 years old. So to him, this is what I mean, and he's got a very good work ethic. And
what's your brother's name? Shout out to him.
Good. Trenton Bordeaux.
Trenton, shout out Trenton.
Shout out Trenton, bro.
Yeah, he's got a really good work ethic. For him being the younger brother, I mean, he's watched my older brother, and then he watched myself grow up. You know what I mean? So for him to be able to take experiences from both of us, you know what I mean, and to be able to apply it into his life, you know what I mean, or watch us leading by example as we're growing up, from things to do and things not to do. You know what I mean? You're not always the a perfect positive role model. You know what I mean? But people are watching and they say, "Oh, well, he made this mistake here." You know what I mean? I want to do something different and not make that mistake. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was great. I absolutely loved growing up with brothers. Have my older brother there and have my younger brother. You know what I mean? We grew up many fist fights and beating the shit out of each other, and I mean, there's stories for days.
That's what boys do.
Yeah, boys. There's so many stories of us growing up on the farm. Like I said, running around. We used to wrestle, and on the trampolines. We used to throw each other. We would set our trampoline up by trees and jump out of the trees on top of each other, or jump off the damn house. And we were taking we were playing like WWE and smacking each other with stop signs, and we did all kinds. You know what I mean? We did all kinds of crazy shit. So it was. You know what I mean? To be able to grow up with, having an older brother and having a younger brother. And then we actually, when I was younger, my parents took my cousin in for a few years, and he was older than my older brother. So I kind of basically had two older brothers growing up. So there was 4 boys growing up in the house our whole lives. We just beat the shit out of each other all the time. That's, you get tough from all that stuff and growing up on the farm and all that. So, I'm very thankful, that I grew up with brothers and everything. And it's funny now that I'm older and start having my own kids. I kind of figured this would happen as a kid. I'm like, I grew up with all brothers, and so now when I go to have kids, I'm gonna end up having mainly all girls. And luckily, my son was the first one. Right, I'm glad we had him first because he's our only boy.
3 girls.
And then we had 3 girls. So, and then my fiance every now and then, are you sure you don't want just one more? Like, we're going to this, this is kind of the time where it's going to be too late. The kids are getting older. I'm like, man, I just don't. 4 is a lot, you know what I mean? So with our luck, we'll end up getting another girl in there. 4 girls. The girls are wonderful and all, but my son, he's so much. He's very mild mannered. He listens very well. He's very helpful. You know what I mean? Things like that. My daughters are kind of like they have more of a fuck you attitude.
They get that stats from mom.
They're like, I don't care if you told me to do that. I'm like, I'll go do my own thing. Whereas my son, I ask him one time, or hey buddy, help me pick this up, or hey, help me do that, and he's always right there to help. But it's good for us. The girls also, with him being the older one and how he is, it's the girls watch him and how he does things.
Then he got that protector too.
Right.
The brother.
Yeah, and the girls are still young. They're the twins are only 4. Our older daughter, she'll be 6 in July. So for them to be able to watch him and the things that he's doing and being involved in sports and everything, and yes, and being the protector and everything is big. I've kind of preached to him since he was really little. You know what I mean? If Dad's not around, or when I'm not here, you are the one to here to protect your sisters and your mom. Even when I just go to Vegas, even just now, I'm gone for a couple of days, I always remind him, like, hey, I'm not here. You're the man of the house. You're here to, you take care of your sister, you take care of your mom, and he does a very, very, very good job at that. I couldn't be more proud of him.
That's what's up. Hey man, it starts from the parents, so shout out to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and and now he's at the age, and our oldest daughter is now too, where they're really heavily involved in sports. So being involved in all that all the time is absolutely amazing. I coach them. I try to coach them through, everything I can, because I want to be there. I want to be a part of it. When they grow up, I want to be able to look back and be able to, we did everything we could to not only just help them, but be there. Be at all their games. Like I said,
it means so much.
Oh, that means a ton. My parents worked 3rd shift growing up, right? So they would work all night. Well, then for instance, my wrestling team in high school, we wrestled all over Michigan. You know what I mean? All over the place. When my dad would go work, mom and dad would go work, Friday night, they'd work third shift. Well, we had a wrestling tournament Saturday morning on the other side of the state. It's going to take all damn day long. Well, they would pull all-nighters and they would stay at that tournament all damn day long with no sleep. You know what I mean? Just to be there. You know what I mean? So, I look at that now and as an adult, and something else I'm really appreciative of. They were always there. You know what I mean? So that's something that how we will be with our kids too. We're not. We try not to miss anything. We try to be all the practices, all the games. You know what I mean? So, and it's fun. Getting to watch them start sports, and where they start at in the season, just learning to where compared to where they end the season at, you know what I mean, like how much they've learned and how much they've grown through the season is just absolutely crazy. We started last year with t-ball, you know what I mean, and watching them make improvements through t-ball, and then we went from t-ball to flag football, and then my daughter went into cheerleading, and then we went into wrestling. We did wrestling this winter, and now we're back in baseball and stuff now. So and I, like I said, I try to be right there and try to help coach all those things and try to be right there for them and try to give them any knowledge and stuff that I can. And that's another nice thing about being in, with PowerSlap and stuff, is all these other kids that I'm coaching and stuff too, whether it's wrestling or whether it's football, whether it's baseball or, whatever, we're constantly preaching to them to do this, to do that. You know what I mean? You're leading by example with your words, but with me being involved in PowerSlap and stuff, not only can I listen to my words, but now they can watch how I physically am doing things, how I'm preparing, how am I preparing to do this? But, the working out or, the mental aspect into things. So not only now are you leading by your words, but you're also leading by example, with your actions too. And those kids are always watching. I remember my last match in February, wrestling practice was actually going on while my fight aired, and they kind of stopped practice, and all the coaches went over and sat down and watched the fight and everything. You know what I mean? So to be able to have those kinds of things, you know what I mean? And
that's what's up.
have the support from the other coaches and the other kids, and for them to be able to watch me, you know what I mean, is it's really cool, and it means a lot. And the support from the community, you know what I mean? I've had a ton of support, and I couldn't be, be more appreciative for the people who do support me.
Shout them out. Shout them out. Shout them out if you want to. Go ahead. Shout them out.
There's always a
mechanic, right?
Yeah. Sponsorship wise. Yeah. I've got, a few different sponsors. We picked up a new one yesterday. It was a 7 Mile Inn Bar and Grill. I really, really appreciate them jumping on the team. I've got the Blind Squirrel. It's another restaurant and bar here in town. We got Midway gas station. I've known those guys for a long time too, and he's always been a huge supporter. Charlie's Family Grill is another restaurant here in Fremont, and they have a restaurant in Hart as well. I've known those guys for a long time too, and for them to be supporters, it's huge to have all the support. Sportsman's Bar is another one. That one's in Newaygo here close by too. I appreciate them for jumping on the team. I got MC Photography and Megan Beatty. She's really been helping me do like a lot of, you see some of the videos and stuff that I've been posting, or some of the more professional pictures and stuff. She's really been helping out with all that stuff. She's a really good photographer. And then we got JCR and Sons Auto Repair in Muskegon. They're an auto repair place out of there. It was really cool of them. They're just a small business as well. And, I've talked to those guys and told them, it's the same thing, that me and my brother are doing with our small business. We completely get it. Trying to, any extra support that you can do to help get your name out there and advertisement, and just supporting the community in general, is more supporting people is such a good thing to do. So, really appreciative of those guys. Our mobile slaughter business, Bordeaux's Mobile Slaughter, they're our sponsor as well. Obviously with us owning that business, so they're always going to be
Totally right.
Bordeaux's Custom Mobile Slaughter.
There you go.
And we do have a Facebook page too, because I also try to keep, I try to keep a little bit of that stuff off, my fighting stuff. So we do have a business page for our Facebook. Anybody ever wants to go check that out, just know what you're getting into. If you do go to the page, you're going to see dead animals. If that's something you don't like,
it's literally the common sense.
Dead animals and blood. Like if that's something you don't want to see, then don't go to the page. You know what I mean? We've had. There's people out there who are against killing animals and stuff, and that's fine, but don't go to our page and then be pissed because you went to the page to see it. You're willingly going to the page. And then last but absolutely not least is you guys Keeping It Blunt podcast. That was absolutely amazing for you guys. You know what I mean? To reach out like you guys did and to create, you know, a relationship and everything with you guys has been absolutely awesome. Like I said, to have, you know, to have the support from people and just to have good people around in general is a big thing. You know, I mean, to have the positivity and good people around it that plays, you know, into everything. You know, everyday life. It's good to have good people around, and you know, I mean, the support is absolutely huge. You know, I mean, I feel it, and that's, you know, I was saying about like you know, I mentioned the blind squirrel and stuff like that. Well, when I was on the show, right, and they aired the show, they actually reached out to me, and that they aired every single week. They played the show up there at the bar for anybody in the community or anybody who wanted to go up there and watch it. So to be
That's
able to
what's
do
up.
things like that, you know, what I mean, yeah, it's absolutely awesome, and
Oh
I
yeah.
really appreciate the support from everybody. You know, what I mean, and like I was telling you guys, is, you know, the more support, the more eyes, the more attention on the support or on the sport and everything. You know, what I mean, the better it really is. So, you know, what I mean, everybody just, and that's another thing. You know, what I mean, we've talked about, you know, with, you know, people looking at PowerSlap, you know, how they looked at the UFC in the early days and stuff like that. It's just, you know, give it a chance. You know, really get into it, and you know, I promise you'll see it from a, you know, from a different, you know, a different aspect, and to really, you know, another thing is people don't really realize how many lives that PowerSlap has already changed. I mean, there's a lot of these guys, and my story as well. I mean, look where I was at before I got into all this. Like I said, I didn't know if I was going to work out again. I didn't know if I would do anything sports wise. I didn't know if I'd do any of that ever again until I got that call from them. It kind of pushed me my motivation over to, okay, well, we're gonna try that. Yeah, we're gonna try this and see how my body holds up and see, you know, see how things will go. And there's so many other stories inside of PowerSlap that, you know, guys with the same thing that, you know what I mean, they've completely changed their life around. You know, we've had guys who were heavy and overweight who have lost a ton of weight, gotten themselves really healthy. You know what I mean, to be able to do this stuff. You know what I mean, financially, it's opening up so many, you know, doors and stuff for people. We've had two cases now. I don't know if you guys have seen this. There was Cole Young, and he had a son. They had some guy. I don't know the name of it exactly. They had some sort of liver disease,
Ooh.
and Cole was actually able to. Luckily, he was able to donate half of his liver to his son.
Wow.
So he went in at right after. I think it was right after PowerSlap 6. It was like a week or two after PowerSlap 6. He competed at 6, and he took the, you know, that money and everything that he won off PowerSlap 6 helped him to be able to take some time off work for him to be able to, you know, I mean, donate part of his liver to his son. You know what I
Oh
mean? I
yeah.
could not imagine it
That's
as a
amazing.
parent sitting here. Yeah, as a parent sitting here watching your kid, you know what I mean, go through. And I've watched these guys' stories and stuff, dude, and it brings tears to my eyes as a parent watching, you know what I mean, hearing the things, you know what I mean, and watching what their children had to go through. And it's just, you know what I mean, absolutely fucking crazy. Well, so they got Cole's story and with his son and everything, right? Well, then now we got Andrew Fields, and by how I'm understanding the story is Andrew Fields. They knew something was wrong with his daughter, but they didn't know exactly what was wrong, right? Well, they were both on a PowerSlap card together. Well, a conversation got brought up somewhere about their kids and how something was going on. Well, Cole was already in the process of knowing what was going on with his son. Well, he told Andrew about what was going on with his son, and they were like matching up the symptoms and stuff. Well, Cole told Andrew to go and, you know, get the test or whatever it was. Well, Andrew went and got the test and stuff for his daughter, and come to find out, I'm pretty sure it was the exact same thing that Cole had
Wow.
with his son. So, you know, I mean, without those guys being in PowerSlap, they never, you know, I mean, never would have figured that out. And now Cole can, you know, I mean, he helped Andrew, you know, give him advice. You know, I mean, they can bounce stuff off each other. And then, you know, the downfall about Andrew's situation. I think his daughter's name's Aubrey. Um, neither the parents, his, you know, or the baby's mom, their blood type didn't match up to the child, so they weren't even able to donate. You know what I mean? They have to sit there and watch their daughter go through this, and there's literally nothing that they can do. They can't just take here, give her half her mine because of that. You know what I mean? So I could just imagine
Yeah.
the situation that they're going through. So in the meantime, you know
Crazy.
what I mean? Them being involved in PowerSlap and stuff, you know what I mean, has been able to help get their name out there a little more in the situation and stuff. Well, we had another fellow PowerSlap guy step up, Jesse Nutting. He stepped up and went and got his blood type and stuff tested and figured out that he was a perfect match for Andrew Fields' daughter. And he literally, I think it was just a week, 2 weeks ago, just donated half of his liver to Andrew's daughter. Without PowerSlap, none of that.
Wow.
Without PowerSlap, none of that. You know what I mean? that situation and stuff doesn't really happen. So for those, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by it being life changing and things like that. You know what I mean? The positivity that have come out of things, you know what I mean? For Cole to be able to talk to Andrew and then be able to be like, well, you know, my daughter's having these symptoms, and be able to bounce it off each other and be like, well, we just went through this, you know, see if you could get this test done and to figure out it's, you know, the similar or same things, you know what I mean? And then for Jesse to step up like he did and go willingly donate half his liver, you know what I mean, to Andrew, who he just met a couple years ago through PowerSlap, you know what I mean? Without PowerSlap, they probably never would have met, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's just all the respect in the world to Jesse Nutting and stuff like that. Cause that, you know, for him to go, and I think he's got a few kids himself and stuff too. So for him to selfishly or not selfishly go out there and, you know what I mean, and be able to take a little bit of time away from his kids and donate, you know, the liver out of his body,
that's amazing,
you know,
man.
for the little girl and everything. It's absolutely amazing. And
He's an
you know,
amazing
like I
person
said,
for that.
yeah, absolutely, an extremely amazing person. It takes, you know, I mean, it takes a big person to be able to do those kinds of things. But you know, that's what I mean about like the things that PowerSlap has helped change for people. You know what I mean? It's helped people get their lives together and get healthy and get them on a good path. And it's helped others, you know what I mean, with those situations with their kids and things like that. So, you know, all these people out there who want to shit on these guys for going out there and slapping each other or whatever the hell, you know, stupid shit you want to make up, you know, maybe take a look into things a little bit deeper before you start talking shit and realizing like, holy shit, you know, I mean, these avenues and this stuff has really changed some of these people's lives for the better, you know what I mean? For the better, way better, you know, and it's been a hugely positive, you know, it's been positively impacted a lot of people, you know what I mean? And people want to go up there and worry about you getting hit in the head and stuff like that. And, you know, yeah, obviously, you know, you don't want to take a ton of shots to the head, but you know what I mean? There's rules in place and there's a commission, there's everything overlooking all of this for a reason, right? You know what I mean? It isn't just some barbarians, you know what I mean? Some of the other leagues, like over in Russia and shit like that, like there isn't a lot of rules in place. You know what I mean? So they got guys who are just throwing their entire body weight and their legs coming right off the ground and whipping it.
I saw one like that.
Right,
they were stepping, they were clubbing, they didn't give a fuck. They were just throwing that shit.
That's how people are going to get hurt and stuff, right? By not implementing rules and everything like that behind it. So, you know, it's great to be able to get sanctioning behind it and make it a professional sport. And, you know, like I said, the way it's changed so many people's lives and my own as well. Like, you know, I grew up an athlete and everything that I had going on and the back surgery situation, and to think that I was never going to be able to do anything athletically ever again, you know what I mean? To be able to be where I'm at now, you know, I mean, if it wasn't for PowerSlap, I probably would never even tried to get back into, you know, all my athletic stuff. I would have just kept, you know, focusing on my business and just did that and got by, you know what I mean, doing that stuff for the rest of my life. But now that, you know, that this door is opened up and I've figured out, you know what I mean, there's ways that I can do this without, you know, jeopardizing my body too much. I mean, it definitely does still have it, you know, it has a pretty big impact on things. But, you know, I have to be very strategic about my workouts. I have to be very strategic about my, how, you know, my technique and stuff like that, my offensive technique. I have to be very cautious about all that, you know, because too much twisting, you think about the twisting motion when you're coming back and you're twisting and you're ripping that through, right? You know, you're doing that too many times, you do that too many times, and your back's gonna start hurting. And then, like I said before, it starts hurting into your lower back, and then it radiates into your hips, and then down your legs and your knees and into your feet and everything, right? So it's taken me a little bit of time to figure out my offensive technique, because at first I wasn't wanting to twist too much. You know what I mean? So I've been playing with my technique. You know, I've got a few things switched up from my last matches that I think it's going to be a lot more beneficial to myself now. But like I said, it's just taken me a little bit longer to figure out the technique, you know, with my back situation. So, and then on top of having the 4 screws and a plastic spacer in my spine, I've also got two screws in my right shoulder as well that, you know, I hit with.
Oh, damn.
I'm sure, you know what I mean, that probably doesn't help things either. High school, my junior year,
man.
my junior year of wrestling, I ended up breaking my shoulder, and I didn't even really know. I just knew after every match I was just having like a ton of pain, and my mom, I'd have to go up the bleachers and they would just be massaging my shoulder like crazy, you know, my whole junior year. Well, after season got over, I decided to go to the doctor, and he said, "Oh yeah, whatever he called it, there was a gap in my shoulder bone or something like that." So they had to go in there with cadaver bone, put cadaver bone in there, and put 2 screws through my shoulder. So I almost didn't get to play football my senior year because I had to have that surgery. You know, I mean, I recovered, and luckily I got to play football my senior year, but I had to start like a month late. But yeah, so that was a whole situation going through that. So I mean, and everybody, everybody kind of deals with some injuries and stuff here and there, but these are bigger things that I've had to take some extra time to figure out my technique. You know what I mean? Working around that kind of stuff. Working around the screws in your shoulder, or working around the stuff with your back situation. What I mean, it's taken me a little bit longer to figure out my offensive technique. So, and I think things, and so far things have gone great, right? But now it's kind of time to amp things up, and now we're looking to go in there and start taking people's heads off and get some knockouts. We've proved the chin, you know what I mean? And when you come into this, I think you want to prove that you can knock people out and that you have a hell of a chin, right? Well, we've proved through 3 fights now that I have a hell of a chin, and it's going to be very, very, very hard to finish me. Right now, it's time to go in and prove to everybody, that I can, I have this knockout power.
Got that knockout power.
Right. I'm gonna take people out, and then also, like I said earlier, credit to Eddie and my last couple opponents. I mean that Eddie's had a hell of a chin. I mean he's
you
can
tell just by looking at you, you're not weak. So
right, exactly. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I think once they kind of set Eddie on his own path, right, and they kind of branch him out, people are going to realize that he's a lot better than what they're giving him credit for. I honestly think Eddie can be one of the top guys in the division. It's just he's had to go against me. Twice right off the bat. The one match that he doesn't go against me, the first shot he sparks the dude, puts the dude out, one shot. So outside of going against me, when they put him on his, when they put him on his own path, I firmly believe he's going to do very well. He's a young, tough guy. He's got a hell of a chin on him. I think he's going to do real well. I think he'll shock some of these guys. So, and like I said, as for myself, it's, getting the technique down right and start taking some people's heads off and get those knockout highlights. We want to see PowerSlap, we want those highlights and stuff, but we also want to be clean highlights. They don't want knockouts that are, dirty DQs, you know what I mean? Or, it's great to go up there, and, get an electric knockout, in one shot, but then when you foul and you get DQ'd for it, now the crowd's like,
takes it away.
Right, or people are watching, they're like, you kind of get frustrated with it. You're like, you know what I mean? You want to see all the action and stuff, but you don't want to see somebody knock somebody out and then foul, and then they technically lose. Even though they knocked that person out, they technically lose because they fouled. Well,
I've seen that too.
Right, you know what I mean? That's where the technique, the technique thing comes in is absolutely huge, as we were saying earlier. Losing 1 point costs you the whole match, or knocking somebody out and fouling, it costs you the whole match too. So the technique and things is so huge.
So I forget the girl's name, but she got slept, like completely slept.
And with the short hair, with the short hair,
she won the match.
She went against the Hungarian. She was the Hungarian woman she went against.
Yeah, that's Sheena. She's the one that got knocked out. So Jackie, and it's cool because Jackie, I met her. The first time I met her was at PowerSlap 6 when she was going against Sheena, right? Well, Jackie's a big wrestler. She's grown up wrestling and stuff her whole life, just like me. So instantly, you know what I mean? Yep, instantly you connect with that person, and I really like Jackie, and I think she's going to have a lot of success in the sport. And for her to go out there and not, Sheena, they were using Sheena as, kind of the poster girl, trying to build the women's division and stuff off from her. And, she's cleaned, she's taken out a couple people pretty easily. And she's proved she has a chin, and she's proved she's had knockout power. And then for Jackie to come in and put her out with one shot like she did, and then she gets called for clubbing, which we all have our own opinion on it. You know what I mean? A lot of us doesn't think, I don't think, like I said,
I don't think so either. When I saw it, I was like,
right.
Shit, she's
with the calls being inconsistent, you know what I mean? I don't think she clubbed. You could look back at her feet, and her left foot stepped a little bit. So if they would have called it for stepping, you know what I mean? That would have been a little bit more understandable.
Now let my dog out. I'm so sorry, guys. Go ahead.
You're good. So for them to, for her to, knock Sheena out like that, you know what I mean? And then it still, it still looked good. Even though it was a foul, it still, turned out pretty good for Jackie and stuff, So she got that highlight. She got a lot of notoriety and attention off that. And now that's something that's going to be, that's going to be something they're looking to run back, right? Because, that high profile of a thing. And now that they proved that Jackie also has knockout power, they're like, holy shit, they want to rematch that up. But I think Sheena's taking some time off, as some people should, that's another firm belief of mine is if, you get knocked out cold like that. I think you should take some, you got to take a little bit of time and give your head some time to, that's a problem.
People suspensions and shit they have too for that.
Well, and now I've seen it I've seen it a couple times now. And I really want to throw, I don't want to put anybody on blast, but I've seen, last summer we had a situation where, a guy defended his title in a 5-round war. Went 5 rounds, ended up losing his title, and then they ended up bringing him back 1 month later against the top contender. Well, he just went 5 rounds 1 month before this and took 5 big shots. No, he didn't get knocked out, but he took 5 big shots. And then 1 month later, he goes in against a top contender. Takes like 2 slaps. One of them might have been a club, and then gets put out cold. Well, you already had damage.
Is that KO Chris?
No, that was AJ. AJ last year. But I was gonna use Chris as the next example. You know what I mean? And Chris had a long period of time off. You know what I mean? And that wasn't necessarily all his fault either. You know what I mean? He had a longer period of time off. So when he came back and went against Manny, and then Manny ended up putting him out like he did, yeah, Chris probably should have taken some time off. But you know what I mean? He had just came off sitting on the sidelines for a whole year. So he, naturally he was just like, no, I want to get right back in there. And I don't blame him. You know what I mean? Coming off a loss, you're like, fuck this, I want to get back in there and correct that loss straight away, right? But sometimes you gotta check yourself because, like he did too, he rushed back in 2 months later and then gets put out even worse than he did the other time. So it's like you need to be in control of your career, right? If you take big shots like that or you get knocked out, in my opinion, you know what I mean, take some time off and let your head come back, because if you don't, you know what I mean, and you go back there and get put out again, well, eventually your chin's going to be completely gone. You know what I mean? And then some of these guys we might end up seeing like their chin is completely gone. You know what I mean? That's a lot of us firmly believe with AJ. You know what I mean? He went through some wars and he ate some big ass shots at heavyweight. He had a hell of a
guy with the earrings, right?
Yep. And he went against some big dudes up there and took hellacious shots up there, but then he got knocked out a couple times in a row. And then I don't agree with this, but then he thought dropping down another 20 pounds was going to help him. You know what I mean? Your chin already kind of got cracked up there, and you're going to lose all this weight. You know what I mean? You lose all this weight, and then you come down to middleweight, and then the first time he got touched, Azael did club, I guess, whatever, is in the front of his face. But the first time he gets touched, you see him get put down. You know what I mean? And so coming down in that weight, you know what I mean, didn't help anything, and with his chin already being cracked. So now everybody in the division is kind of looking at him like, everybody's kind of like licking their lips like, holy shit, like that's an easy knockout. You know what I mean? So everybody's kind of, people want to go after him, but at the same time, those also probably aren't the ones you should chase. Would it be nice to have his name on your resume because of the things that he did do at light heavyweight and stuff? Yeah, absolutely. But you know what I mean? If you want to be the best in the world, you should probably be chasing the absolute best fucking guys in the division. You know what I mean? If you're calling out somebody because you think they're the easiest fight in the division, well,
kind of makes you look weak.
Right. Then you're weak. I don't know about them, but I want, you know what I mean? I'd like to go against the absolute toughest, the baddest motherfuckers in it. You know what I mean? Because if you want to be the baddest, you want to be the best, those are the guys that you have to take out. You know what I mean? Or do you want to just be in this to be average? You know what I mean? I've always been taught growing up that I don't want to be average. You know what I mean? I want to be above average. So in order to do that, you know what I mean? You take out the best fucking guys. You know what I mean? So that's why you see me before this matchup. You know what I mean? I was calling out John Davis, who many people, you know what I mean? Because John's beat, the top couple guys in the division a couple times each. You know what I mean? Hasn't had a clear cut matchup, I guess, according to the matchmakers and stuff. So, you know what I mean? I'm constantly going at John would take that. I like Azael. I've called out Azael as well. Wesley, same thing. AJ, if they wanted to give me that, I'm going to sit here and call AJ out because of his situation and stuff. But the other guys, you know what I mean? I want those top guys. I want those spots, and in order to get those spots, those are the guys you got to beat. The matchmakers and everything, they make the decisions on the matches and stuff. So, I don't know what they're, looking at like future wise. You know what I mean? I didn't get one of those top guys this round, but
so I don't want to take up your whole entire day, but I got like 2 more questions for you.
And I got 2 more too, so we got 4.
Yeah, no, you're good. No big deal.
All right. So I want to talk about the kicks, man. I see you're a big sneakerhead. I see you got those Chunky Monkey Ben and Jerry dunks. Those are expensive, man. I see you got the Chicago Off-Whites.
Yep.
As you can tell, I'm a sneakerhead as well.
Yep.
So I'm saying, I got a few myself. But what's your favorite of your collection?
Oh man, that's a hard one. I like them all a lot, you know, and that's why the hard thing with the shoes is I kind of always, you know, really like shoes, but I didn't really like get into collecting them and stuff like that till the last couple of years. Um, my biggest thing with the shoes is though, is like, you know, you'll get some people, you know, you're wearing those expensive shoes and stuff. Like, oh, I can't believe you're wearing those. You know what I mean? I can't believe you have those on your feet. But my thing is, I look at it as like, if I'm gonna buy these shoes and stuff, what the hell am I gonna do with just sitting in my closet or sitting in, you know what I mean? Or I put them in a spare room in my house, and then what? They just sit there
Exactly.
forever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to do that stuff. If I'm gonna buy something, you know what I mean, I'm buying it to wear it. You know what I mean? So that's my
Exactly.
thing. You know what I mean? I like to, you know what I mean? I've really gotten into collecting some of the, you know, I also like the pairs that, you know what I mean, a lot of people don't have. I like having things that not a lot of
I'm
people
the same
have. So
way.
it kind of, that's the why I'll kind of go after the ones that, you know what I mean, are a little bit more expensive or harder to get because I know, you know what I mean, those are the ones that not everybody has. So that's kind of what intrigues me to go after those ones. And, you know, it's been cool because I started with just like one pair, you know, and then, you know, you create relationships. You know, I start following people on TikTok and Instagram, and you start talking to people and networking. You know, and then, you know, you're trading shoes. You're trading shoes with people. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Now I can, you know, trade your shoes and give you some cash. You know
Oof.
what I mean? So it makes it a lot easier once you kind of get, you know what I mean? You get a few pairs built up to where you can kind of wheel and deal and trade them and things like that. So yeah, it's been something that I've really gotten into the last few years, and now, you know, me getting into it, now my fiance's kind of gotten into it too, getting her some of those shoes. And then the worst part is I get into all of it, right, and then I think I got to get my kids, you know, the shoes and everything like that, and they outgrow them so fast, and they, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
the kids don't care about, you know, what I mean, getting stuff all dirty and
I
everything.
told my
So,
son
but
when he gets to high school, then we'll start building
yeah,
his collection.
there you go. Because I got my all four of the kids have the Travis Scott Black Phantoms, and then
Oh.
I got my son a like the Chunky Dunkies, but they're
Uh-huh.
Jordans. They're Jordan 1 mids, but they're just like the Chunky Dunkies. They're made just like that, so they're really cool. And then he
That's
actually
what's
has
up.
a pair of the off white Euros. But what I'm teaching them is I'm like, okay, guys, when we go out and do something, you wear these shoes, right? When we get home, one, you take your shoes off, clean them up, right? I always clean my shit up before I put it away, change, and then when you go outside to go and play, you wear play shoes, something like that, right? We
Yeah, yeah.
don't just jump out of the car in your nice clothes and your nice shoes and then go and, you know, go play in the yard and stuff. So I'm teaching them to kind of like take care of their things, you know what I mean? And as soon as they get home, they know like, okay, I got my nice clothes on, my nice clothes off, put some play clothes on, put some play shoes on, or put some Crocs on, and go play. You know, so it's cool, you know what I mean, getting them involved in everything, but you know, it's a fun little hobby. You know what I mean? And then when you start collecting a couple of them, then it just kind of turns into a couple more and more and more. And
Oh yeah. Trust me, I know.
next thing you know, you've got 30, 40, 50 pairs of them. You're like, shit, man, now I can even wear them all. But yeah, you got a different
Yeah,
pair of
I saw
shoes
your
for.
kid game. I was like, oh yeah, we're definitely gonna be fucking best
Yeah,
buds.
I love it. It's just, you know, something about it. It's, you know, a fun hobby, and, you know, just being able to
It
have,
is.
you know, you know, I don't know, there's something about them, and like, you know what I mean, the fancier ones, like how they're made and the designing that goes into them, you know,
It
it's
makes
just
you
like,
stand out too.
oh yeah, for sure. And you know what I mean, and when people hear that there's shoes that out there, I mean, even a couple $1,000 pair of shoes, people are like, but you know what I mean, there's shoes out there that are worth 100 grand. You know what I mean, there's shoes out there that are worth more than houses. But it's just like in anything else, you know what I mean, they're collectibles. You know, and there's people out there
Yeah.
who collect coins that are more expensive than, you know what I mean, all kinds of stuff. It's a collectible thing, and when you get these rare pairs that only a certain amount are made, right? You know what I mean? There's some of them out there. I have a pair of the Nike Dunk White Lobsters, which they're released to family and friends only. And I won these ones, luckily, um,
Wow.
and they're worth like 40 grand for these damn shoes. But
Jeez.
from what I understand, I think there's only a couple hundred pairs made in the world, and the ones that they made were only given to family and friends of the brand, right? So then the family and friends of those brands take those shoes and they realize, holy shit, I got a collectible here. You know what I mean? And then they go out and then they sell the collectible. So what I did is I met these people, and this guy was doing a raffle, and he sold a $200 raffle, $200 tickets, and he sold 200 spots. So it's 40 grand, right? And I ended up getting the luck of the pick, and I won the damn shoes. And they sent them through an authentication service. They sent them through StockX, had them all authenticated, everything like that before before I got them and everything. So those are the one pair I don't mess around with too much. You know what I mean? I wore them to weigh-ins. I wore them to weigh. I wore them to weigh-ins for PowerSlap 6, but they aren't something, you know what I mean, that I wear like outside, or you know what I mean, something like that.
Yeah,
Those would be the one. Like if I'm gonna put them on my feet, it'll just kind of be inside. Which I still, I know that the minute you put them on the feet, they lose value, but I have $200 of value into them, so you know what I mean. Like I know they're worth a lot of money, but to me,
you gotta
know what I
get
mean.
your
Like
money
I said,
worth too.
right. You know what I mean. So I don't know if I ever end up selling them, I sell them. If I hold on to them, I hold on to them. So it's one of those things. You know what I mean. Like I was saying earlier, that not very many people have it all that I do have. You know what I mean. So to be able to have something like that, you know what I mean, is cool. And it goes with, you know what I mean, some of the other shoes and stuff. Like, I mean, I personally really like the Jordans, and I've kind of gotten into the Dunks a little bit more now. It all started with Jordans, though. You know what I mean? I really like the Jordans.
Same with me.
Yeah, Jordan
Retros.
1s. Yeah, Jordan 1s, the Jordan 4s are kind of always, 1s and 4s have kind of been my favorites. I don't mind all the other ones. I really like all the other ones too. You know what I mean?
Like 8 through 13 is my range. I love the 8s through 13s.
Yep. They're all really cool too. And it's just, you know what I mean? It's the popularity and everything behind them. And then when Off-White started, you know what I mean, jumping in there with Nike and doing collaborations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I like Off-White, but I like when they're collabed with like Nike and Jordan and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't rock no Off-White when they're by themselves either.
No, yeah. I don't have anything, you know what I mean? Even like some of the Off-White shirts that I have are Off-White Jordan. You know what I mean? I don't have just the Off-White. Yeah. So it's,
Same with Supreme. I don't own nothing Supreme, but I own like a couple of Supreme collabs. Like,
yep. And that's what, like, then you got the Dunks, who have also done a couple collabs with Off-White as well and stuff. So, I got
I'm trying to find the Freddy Krugers, man. If I can get my hands on Freddy
Krugers. Those are some rare. Those are another pair of really rare ones. And it's cool, you know what I mean? You get into the shoe stuff and everything, and then, you know what I mean, there's those sneaker cons around, you know what I mean? And you meet, like I said, networking and meeting these people, because, now if there's something, there usually isn't very many pairs of shoes that I can't find now, you know what I mean? With the people that I have and the people that I know and stuff, I usually kind of, you might have to wait a couple months on them, but I'm usually able to find them. The Cactus Plant Flea Market Pure Platinums, those were extremely hard to come by. I couldn't find them. I had been looking for them for like a year, and I just couldn't find them in my size. I could find them in other sizes, smaller sizes and stuff, but I could never find them in my size. Well, when I finally found them in my size, I was like, yes, please, I gotta take those ones, the bedazzled ones and everything.
What size are you, man?
I wear 11 and a half, 12, right around there. Kind of depends on the shoe. So right around.
Who knows, man? You might end up getting a Keepin and Blunt shoe here soon.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know what I mean? But just anything to add to the collection. I've got a couple pairs that I haven't even. Like I bought the Trump shoes. I know that they're uglier than hell. You know what I mean? But they were just something that I just to put in the collection. You know what I mean? Just to have them. And because they only released. I want to say they only released like 600 or 700 pairs of them. You know what I mean? So it was just another rarity thing. You know what I mean? I was like, I know those shoes are rare, so you know what I mean? I'm gonna grab those and stick those. But I think they're so damn ugly that I haven't put the damn things on my feet yet.
That's how I feel about those damn those Mischief boots, the big red like cartoon looking boots.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck?
They got the big red boots. Have you seen like the cheese ones or something that look like?
Yeah, the cheese. They got like a missing piece, like a Swiss.
Yeah.
That's just so funny.
Yeah. But they get creative with, you know what I mean? They get creative with some of them, so it's it's pretty cool. It leads back into, you know what I mean? If you really sit down and look at some of the collectible shoes and the detail and stuff that they put into them, it's different than just, you know what I mean, your ordinary shoe.
Yeah, man. Anybody who collects anything, you can understand, because even with Pokemon cards, like. Yeah, there's like little tiny discrepancies, little things that you look for. That's how I am with shoes. Like there's like these little things that to the regular person, it's just, it's a fucking sneaker. Like fuck you spending $4,000 for. Like, you don't understand.
It goes a lot deeper than that. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
There's a lot more behind it. A lot more. It's the same thing with the PowerSlaps. I mean, people you look at it from the outside, but it's like look at it from the inside. You know what I mean? That's a completely different situation. You know what I mean? So. It's cool. It's a fun hobby, but
So on piggybacking off of a hobby or just something more personable, right?
Yep.
Give me just one of your all-time favorite comedy movies. Something makes you
comedy
laugh.
movie. Probably anything with Adam Sandler.
Okay.
I love Adam Sandler. I pretty much grew up watching Adam Sandler movies, so I absolutely love him. You know, you go back
Yeah, I
to
like Adam Sandler.
the traditionals like, you know, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. Those
Waterboy.
movies are absolutely, yeah. Those movies like Big Daddy, you know what I mean? That whole
Mr.
run there, like
Deeds, all that shit. Yeah, I
Mr.
like those
Deeds,
too.
all that stuff. Yeah, those are hilarious. But then there's quite a few of them out there though too. I mean, you know, you got Will Ferrell on in the movies that Will Ferrell's really in. Those are hilarious too, and Step Brothers and stuff like
Oh my
that.
God,
And
Step Brothers is an all-time favorite.
yeah,
I annoy everybody I watch that movie with because I fucking
yeah.
repeat in the movie line for line.
Yeah. I'm way bigger probably into like the comedy stuff than I am to anything else, like action movies or like
Same,
I don't
same.
want to say I don't want to say I don't like drama movies and stuff like that, but like I don't know, I'm the
Rather
type
watch a
that's like
comedy.
yeah, I would definitely I'd rather watch a comedy. I feel like when you watch like some of these dramas and stuff, it's more like a negative kind of not I don't want to say negative, but like a sad kind of like a sad thing put around I don't know the
Yeah, real
story or
life is
whatever.
drama. I watch that shit to escape that.
Exactly. You watch it all the time. You know what I mean? The last thing I want to do is want to watch something that, you know, oh, that's kind of sad. I'm like, no, I want to watch something that, you know, that's going to make me laugh, you know, put you in a good mood,
Yeah.
something like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be sad or upset or anything like that. Some of
No,
those
yeah.
stories are really good. I've definitely, we've all seen, you know, really good movies that have sad stories in them. But, you know, it's much nicer sitting down and watching a movie and laughing. You know what I mean? And they're like, this is
For
hilarious.
sure.
And seeing all that stuff too. But yeah, no, I've really, Adam Sandler, he's probably been his movies and him himself have probably been my favorite actor growing up.
That's what's up.
Anything that that guy usually does turns to gold too. And you know, I mean, he's a hilarious character too. When you see him out there just
And I
playing
love the fact that he
basketball
keeps
and
his tight knit circle, man. That shit is
yeah.
great.
And I love how he is who he is and the stature that he has. And like when he's out playing basketball or you see him out on the streets and stuff, like how he dresses, he don't give a
Yeah,
shit.
normal guy.
I mean, to him, he doesn't need to be walking around with, you know what I mean, all this fancy ass stuff on and everything like that. Like, he's just a normal guy, down to earth, super cool. You'll see him at the park playing basketball with kids and stuff like that. Like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
That's
dope as fuck.
so much respect to, you know, those type of people who are like that, you know what I mean? Because they can do literally anything they want in the world, right? You know what I mean? And for them to be out playing basketball with, you know what I mean, the community and stuff like that, that's so cool to see. I mean, people of that stature being able to do those kind, you know, doing that kind of stuff.
Right. And then my last question, which is the two-part question, is my last question. My last question is this. Two-part question. Do you have a fan, like, are you a fan? Well, I'm sure you are, so I want to know of who. Is there anyone in Slap that you're like a fan of? Like, I know you respect them all because you've been through it, you've gone through it, you know.
Oh, you stole my question, motherfucker.
Got to it first, buddy. and then the second part to that question is, I know you did a little bit of MMA too. So is there anybody in the martial arts world too that is like a fan favorite for you?
Yeah, I definitely have probably a lot more fan favorites in the UFC compared to PowerSlap. I mean, I don't know if it's just because, like, you know, I mean, you're like in kind of with the guys. I mean, there's obviously a lot of respect for anybody who steps up there. You know what I mean? Just to get up there and do that deserves respect from everybody, and just in general, a combat sport, anything like that in general. Just to get in there and do it. You know what I mean? You should get some respect for that. If I had to pick people to be like fans of, or to take advice and stuff like that from, or to really watch what they do, it'd be some more of the OG guys. Definitely like the Crazy Hawaiian. You know what I mean? He's been involved in this stuff for years now. He's an OG at it. You know what I mean? So to be able to even sit down and pick his brain about things, or I've studied a lot of his techniques and watched a lot of his fights and try to pay attention to things closely. You know what I mean? I try to, some of those guys I try to sit down and really watch and pull things from their videos and stuff. DeBell is another one. You know what I mean? The run that he's been on at heavyweight. You know what I mean? He's
young, man. I didn't know he was so young.
Yes. He's like 20, and he's really very smart guy. He's like 22. You know what I mean? And going to school to be a lawyer and stuff like that. He's a very smart guy. And yeah, dude, he's a problem at heavyweight. You know what I mean? He's Jesus.
He is.
You know,
my buddy, crazy chin.
Yeah, my buddy Big Nate went against him in October, and then my buddy Ryan Phillips just went against him too. And I love both of those guys, and you know what I mean. But you know, Bell, he's just When Bell went against Nate, Bell won the toss and put Nate down on the first shot, so he didn't even have to eat a shot from Nate. And then when he went against Ryan, they went to fourth or fifth round, so he, ate shots from Ryan, and then ended up putting him out too. But yeah, I mean, he's got a fucking hell of a chin. We've seen it, in every match. He had his first one with Wolverine when he took the belt from Wolverine. He seems to be able to eat these shots like nothing. And then I know that at least coming out of season 1, because he was like helped be one of the coaches and stuff, and I'm sure it probably still is now, that he had the highest, if not one of the highest, like human force impact things out of everybody in PowerSlap.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So and he has the chin to go with it. So he
has no beard. That beard gives you a little cushion.
Yeah, he's going to be hard to dethrone. You know what I mean? He's tough. He's going to be hard to beat because, like I said, he has the chin, and he's also got crazy fucking power too. So I mean, he's going to be. But there's good competition there though, and they're steadily bringing in more people, and even these guys. Like Nate and Ryan and stuff like that. The sport's so new that I mean, I feel like you're always within like one huge knockout or one big highlight away from another title shot. You know what I mean? Especially with how things are right now. So, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be surprising yeah, it wouldn't be surprising to see, you know what I mean? Big Nate end up getting another knockout and getting thrown back in there. Same thing with Ryan, you know what I mean? There's Crespo who's sitting at the top, who he's also lost to Bell as well, but I don't think that one was a title fight, so he hasn't gone against Bell since Bell's had the title. But he's going to be tough to beat. And then the crazy Hawaiian, like I said, I think he's going against Danny Van Heerden from South Africa, which I think the Crazy's got more experience and everything, but that should be a good match. But if there's any brains and stuff in a pick, and I do it really with anybody who's got more experience than myself. Like I talked about my buddy Manny and stuff, right? Manny started at 185 and went down to 170, and he won the title and stuff down there. So now he's gotten to the title and stuff, right? He's achieved those goals. So I talk to some of these guys like him. I talk to them like every day or every other day, and I'm not scared to ask those guys for advice or how'd you do this or the technique and things like that. So I mean, any of those guys who have climbed the mountain, who have had the success, I do like to pick their brains and get their ideas and stuff from them. Turpin, he's another one. Me and him had a lot of conversations, of like the stuff outside of PowerSlap, promoting yourself, you know what I mean? The social media work, all the stuff that, that goes into it. You got a lot of these guys who, you got guys who are bitching and crying that they're not on cards, and you want to try to say that, people are being favored, this, that, and everything else. Well, if you look at, people who you're trying to say are being favored, these are the guys who are working money.
So if you're not popular.
Right, exactly. They're like, oh, it's a popularity contest. So yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's part of it is a popularity contest. So why don't you, if you want to have what some of these other guys have or myself, then go out there and do what the fuck we're doing. We're doing the extra work. You're doing the extra work on social media. You're doing the extra posts. You're going out and getting sponsors. You're bringing attention to the sport. You're trying to build things. You're not sitting back with your mouth closed saying absolutely nothing. And then you get, you're not getting picked for something and then you want to sit over here and bitch. Well, you're not trying to do the extra work, you know what I mean? And then you're also not saying yes to every opportunity that they try to give you either, right? I've been fortunate to be a part of pretty much every event since coming into this since August, but I've said yes to every damn opportunity as well. When I went out there in April, they called me.
Dana loves that.
Right, exactly. They want people who they can rely on, right? Well, they called me 9 days before the last event to come out there as a backup. We had kind of talked back and forth that I potentially was going out there as a backup because I was supposed to be matched up. Pussy in my division turned the fight down, so they were potentially going to bring me out. They were potentially going to bring me out as a backup. Well, I didn't really, know for sure until 9 days before the match that okay, hey, we're for sure going to bring you out. So I had, I cut 24 pounds in those 9 days, and I don't normally cut weight like that, and I'm not cutting weight like that now. I usually take 6-8 weeks, get on a good diet, bring the fat down off my body and stuff like that. I only had 9 days to make this weight, and I kind of knew that the chances of me not competing were a little bit higher, so I was okay with just dehydrating myself to make the weight. But I took those, I took those 9 days and I cut those 24 pounds and I made weight like a professional. And not only did I make weight, I made championship weight. You know what I mean? I showed up, I made weight. You know what I mean? I did those things. I've done that a couple times now. You know what I mean? Like I said yes to every opportunity that they call me with. Here I am right on the edge of a title shot, calling for the champion or calling for the top two, top contender, you know what I mean? And they call me with something else. Did I cry and bitch and moan and not take the fight and say, nope, I have to have this number one guy? Did I want to fight ahead of me in the rankings? And you know what I mean? That was where I was going. But when they called me with this and they say, hey, this is the situation, you know what I mean? You do this, you impress, you know what I mean? This is what can happen.
Be rewarded.
Right. Then I'm, you know what I mean? I'm all in. You know what I mean? Because I said from the beginning of all this, you know what I mean? It was anybody, anytime, anywhere. You know what I mean? Once you get toward the top, it has to be a little bit more strategic about things. I mean, you don't want to be the number one guy fighting down at number 8, number 9, something like that. Stuff that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You also say yes to every opportunity available because that's what gets you in good graces with those guys, and they know they can rely on you. You know what I mean? At each event comes around or something falls through, like, oh, hey, I know I can call him. Let me give him a call and see if he, see if he wants to step in. I mean, they have people that they know that they can call, that they can rely on. They also have people that they know that they're not even going to think about calling because they know damn well that they're not going to take the fight or it's just going to be drama or bullshit or problems. You know what I mean? You got be easy to work with, say yes to every fucking opportunity, work your ass off, do the extra work. You know what I mean? And then you'll be right there. And then as far as like, you guys said stuff about you were asked about the fan of the UFC. Man, there's a lot of guys in the UFC. I'd say I'm fans. I've followed the UFC so close since I can remember.
Who's your number one guy?
My number one guy is gonna have to be John Jones.
I knew it.
I love John Jones. It's just he's. And you really, and you've been seeing more videos and stuff come out about Dana talking about John Jones and everything, and it's the mentality that he has, it's the killer instinct that he has, it's the, you know what I mean, he is the dedication, the everything that, you know what I mean, that dude is a bad dude. You know what I mean? That's, like Dana has said, he said, you lock that guy in the room with anybody in the world, you know what I mean? Who's coming out of that room?
He's the one coming out.
John Jones is the one coming out of that room. You know what I mean? He's like the alpha of alphas, walking this earth. You know what I mean?
That's got to be a crazy feeling to walk around knowing you could like literally every man in the world.
Yeah, right. It gives you, you know what I mean? That confidence, that comes with it. And that's, part of the reason that he probably had a little bit of the trouble that he's, the trouble that he's had outside of the cage, which is, we all know about stuff. But, you know what I mean? You get to that stature, you know what I mean? Give a 23-year-old kid. I mean, he won the title at 23, 24, right? I was just watching that. He's 23, 24. You're the champion. You're the champion of the UFC. You know what I mean? You just took out Mauricio Shogun Hua. And now, and then when you get into the spotlight, it's everything that comes with it. You know what I mean? It's all the, the temptations and everything that come with it. Well, you throw all these temptations at a 24-year-old kid and millions and millions and millions of dollars and expect them not to go off the wall at some point.
A lot of us are
absolutely they're going to go off the wall. Look at all these.
Look at Ryan Garcia. The boxer.
Exactly. Look at all these kids who have grown up, you know what I mean? Like all these Disney kids growing up or kids who have grown up with fame since they were little and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's,
give that money to a teenager or young 20s.
They go
I couldn't imagine what I would do with
right. You just
millions of dollars in my early 20s. Oh man, I've been fucking
right. I mean, you think about it now as an adult, you're like, shit. You know what I mean? That much money. You know what I mean? And give it to you as a kid who hasn't, been through experiences or learned how to do the proper things. You know what I mean? And then they get exposed to all that and all that money, and then for that not to fuck up, like, come on, you know what I mean? The chances are, something is going to happen. So, for me, John Jones is definitely the greatest of all time, and the things that he's done and his resume, you know what I mean? The people that he's beat, and not only has he beat him, he's, dominated the people, you know what I mean? Moving up to heavyweight and dominating Khan like he did. And I think he dominates Stipe. I think he dominates anybody in that division. And then you got,
I think he dominates Aspinall too.
Yeah, and everybody's going to say, well, he won't want to fight Aspinall. He doesn't want to do this. How long do you expect this man to stick around? Like, look what he's already done. His resume is 100 times what most people's resume will ever be. What more does he have to prove? Right. He doesn't need to keep doing it because at some point, a contender is going to get you. You're starting to get up into 40, 41, 42. You're starting to get older, and you got these 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old savages coming up. At some point, you know what I mean? It's going to catch up to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. He has nothing else to prove. He wants to go out there and take out the greatest heavyweight of all time and put he already is the greatest of all time.
Stamp on his career.
Yep. Right. You put that stamp on your career, walk away. There's nothing else to prove. He's got millions. He's got plenty of money. He's got everything set. walk away
I
and be
agree.
done. Don't let this
I
media
agree.
try to, oh, you got to come back and do this, because it's always going to be that. It's always going to be, you got to come back for this one. There's always going to be the next person. There's always going to be another contender. That's how this goes. Oh, you know what I mean?
Oh,
When
yeah.
that champion retires and gone, now there's another champion, and now there's new contenders. It's a constant cycle. You know what I mean? So
Like Tyson and Jake Paul. You got 50-year-old man. It's like Jake Paul's like, yeah, I want to fight you.
I think that shit is so fucking stupid.
Kind of stupid situation, but yeah, and then I really like like Khabib and Islam. You know what I mean? Those guys just kind of growing up as a wrestler my whole life. You know what I mean? You kind of naturally root for those guys, and just how they dominate people and how they control people. You know what I mean? The things that those guys do is so respectable. And like I said, coming from the wrestling world and knowing what that all takes, you know what I mean, to train like that, and the stuff that they put their bodies through, and physically and mentally and all that, you know what I mean? It's for them guys to be able to do what they do, and we all know how savage they are. It's
yeah, the motherfuckers are hard to beat.
Yeah. So much respect to those guys. And now you got Islam, who not only obviously is like Khabib on the ground, but he's his stand-up's getting extremely good as well. So that's going to make him even way harder to beat. And then you can't discredit what Connor's done for the sport and everything. Right. That's absolutely crazy. He's obviously been on his skid and his losing and shit like that. But like, at the peak of his career and everything and all the shit that he did, you know what I mean? Things wouldn't be where they're at now without everything that he did for the sport too. So, he definitely obviously made his impact on things. And, it's, I don't know. There's all, I'm fans of, tons of the UFC guys, you know what I mean? And then, we got Jamal Hill, who's from, you know what I mean? His hometown, Grand Rapids, is only about 35, 40 minutes away from me. You know what I mean? Okay. He's got, we have really close mutual friends. Hey. One of my buddy Brett Martin that I grew up with and went to school with and stuff. He's really good friends with Jamal and stuff as well. So, to be able to have Jamal, who's that close, I mean, I think he stays in Vegas a lot now because of the PI and all that other stuff, and you know what I mean. But yeah. He comes back to his gym here and trains here, and then he brings his coaches and stuff out there and everything. But for for him to be that close to where I'm from and stuff, is a whole nother cool story. And I had said something to our social media people. I said, if Jamal, this was at UFC 300 when he was going against Pereira, I said, if Jamal gets that belt back, and so at any point moving forward, because he could very well get it back, moving forward as well. I said, if Jamal gets that belt in his hands again, I said, and then I get one, the PowerSlap, middleweight world title in my hands, I said, that'd be a cool story to run. We're both from West Michigan. We're both from about 30, 45 minutes away from each other. Both champions for Dana White, and two of his two different organizations for him. And like, it's a cool story for him to run. So
Michigan stand up.
right. So, I'm really, really rooting for Jamal and stuff like that, to get back to that title. Pereira's Pereira and is damn good, but Jamal's damn good too. So, to see him get back up there, would be awesome.
Oh yeah. That's what's up,
cousin, you think America's tired of hearing our voice?
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, Mr. Branden Bordeaux. You've been amazing. You haven't hit us with the little short one-word answers and shit. You were definitely an amazing guest. And
Thank you guys.
we look forward to seeing what you got in the future, man. Just know we riding with you. We're Team Butcher all the way.
All day.
Appreciate
and
all day.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you hold that gold.
Day.
That's right. No, thank you guys.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I said, you guys, supporting me, and I appreciate the hell out of that for you guys being there and the platform with podcasts and stuff like that. I appreciate the hell out of you guys, and appreciate the attention you're trying to help bring, and you guys tuning in and helping me out in any way possible. There's so much respect there for you guys doing that and everything. I really appreciate it. And, like I said, I want to keep you guys with me. Until the wheels fall off this thing. And,
yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't end here, man. It doesn't end
right. It's good to have guys like you on board and here with me, and we're in this together. So I appreciate the hell out of you guys.
June 28th, live from Vegas. Free on Rumble. Branden Bordeaux, Slap 8. Let them know.
Let's go. Also, be on the lookout for Keeping It Blunt on Rumble too. We're about to be on Rumble as well.
That's right.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Go figure. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, would you look at that? Just look at it. Just look at it. Yeah, well, what the heck is that?